Starting in left field for the New York Yankees tonight, number 6, Roy White, as we set the Yankee defense for the top of the first inning. In center field for New York, the flyer, Mickey Rivers. Over in right field, the left-hander, Oscar Gamble, number 23. At third base, the American League home run champion, number 9, Greg Nettles. At shortstop, number 11, Fred Stanley, who's been outstanding in this championship series. At second base for the New York Yankees, number 30, Willie Randolph. At first base for the Yankees, power hitter Chris Chambliss. Catching tonight for New York will be Thurman Munson, number 15, and doing the pitching, right-hander Ed Figueroa, who was the loser in Sunday's ball game but had a fine season, 19-10. Keith Jackson, along with Howard Cosell and Reggie Jackson. And don't you love it when it gets down to the nubs? Everything is up for grabs tonight as Al Cowan steps in for Kansas City to lead off. He'll be followed by Tom Poquette, and George Brett, and John Mayberry would be the fourth hitter if someone should get on. The temperature heading toward the middle 50s tonight in New York City, and here is the first pitch of the final game for the American League pennant. If the Yankees win tonight, it'll be the 30th pennant for New York. If Kansas City wins, it'll be the first ever for a ball club that is just finishing its 8th season. On the strike zone, on the outside corner and low with his second pitch. The first pitch was high and away. The second pitch was really a hummer on the outside corner. Collins checks and takes this one a little low. They ask as to whether or not he tipped the ball. Thurman Munson obviously indicating that he thinks that he did. The plate umpire for tonight's game is the veteran Art Prince. The stadium is capacity at better than 58,000.
Standing room only, Keith. Place is excited. We're hot. This is it. By the way, I thought I heard a tick.
2-1. Taft high in the air to the right side. Big bounce for Randolph. Snaps the throw, got him. The first base umpire tonight is Larry McCoy. Joe Brinkman is at second. Larry Barnett at third. Down the right field line, Bill Haller. The left field line, it's George Maloney. The batter now for the Kansas City Royals, number 2 man in the order, Tom Poquette.
Well, we're off with a bang tonight. A guy can make a big, big name for himself tonight. Everything is magnified. Everything under a microscope tonight. You hit a home run tonight, it'll for sure be heard around the country.
Tom Poquette at 231 on the series. Hitting left-handed, pulls it sharply foul. On the right side, it's out of play.
Figueroa's whole job tonight, Keith, as you know, to keep the ball down. He was high in his last outing.
And we have seen this Kansas City ball club that is very quick to jump on the pitches that are high. And today is Ed's 28th birthday. He wanted desperately to be the first Puerto Rican pitcher to win 20 games in a season that's fouled away, and the count is 2 strikes. Juan Pizarro from Puerto Rico won 19 one year. Ed Figueroa finished this season with the Yankees at 19-10.
I think that if he wins this ball game, it'll sure overcome the disappointment for him of winning 20
You better
games.
believe.
I would think so.
He had 2 shots at it against Boston and Baltimore, failed. Had a 3rd shot coming up, final day of the season, rained out.
The outfield swings a little to the right for Poquette, and the fastball is a little bit high and away, and George Brett, who hit .333 to win the American League batting championship, is waiting in the on-deck circle. And he has done very well against Ed Figueroa in his career. 1-2 pitch. Foul. It holds at 1-2. There was a sprinkle of rain across the city late this afternoon, but it's blown away. The wind has been up and down, but doesn't seem to be a particular factor at this point. The flag for just a moment comes up, but most of the evening it's been hanging rather limply. 1-2 pitch.
You say there was a time when the on-deck hitter had a pretty good series against him, or a pretty good time against Figueroa. He got 13 straight hits at one point.
The pitch is high. 54 degrees at 8:30 tonight. The wind gusting 15-20 out of the northwest. The configuration, however, of the newly redesigned Yankee Stadium, I think, has changed the wind pattern somewhat. 2-2 to Poquette. Foul back here.
This little guy's been a tough out the whole series. He's almost played a lot better than people have expected. But what do you expect from a guy? He's hit 300 all year, and he's doing a little bit better than that right this series. It's been a pleasant surprise for, I'm sure, all the people around the country. Not a surprise for the Kansas City Royals because they know what he can do.
2-2 pitch to Poquette. He struck him out on a low inside pitch.
That is the kind of pitch Figueroa will have to achieve all night. Keep the ball down.
I think you can tell, too, that Figueroa's adrenaline is flowing a little bit because here in the top of the first inning of the ball game, he has been timed on our Jugs radar gun at roughly 92 miles an hour on the fastball.
There's no question about it, what you said, Howard. He's got to make good pitches tonight. He's had some rough times over the last couple of weeks of the season. Obviously had a rough time Sunday. He needs to come back with a good outing tonight for the obvious reason of winning the pennant and taking it all. Got to make good pitches tonight.
The pitch to George Brett. Ball one. George Brett against Figueroa in 1976, 3 for 9. But over the season, 6-6-6. Fouled away.
And as Reggie suggested, he went 12 out of 14. There's Whitey Herzog. Face apparently quizzical on the surface, but a man who's deeply tense tonight, you better believe, as is Billy Martin. No, there he is. No difference between them. Good work, Chet 40.
1-1 pitch. Low. It's 2-1 to Brett. It just has to be that Figueroa early in the ball game will try to be very careful with Brett, who has been a successful foe. It has been the pattern in the series for Kansas City to jump on top as of the second game on Sunday. Foul tip off the mask of Thurman Munson.
There's no question about it. We've said it before, and we can say it again. I guess you can watch throughout the evening as ABC has coined the phrase, the thrill of agony, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. We'll see it all here tonight. You'll see him working very cautious. You can't say how much is riding on the ball game. You can't say a guy takes too much time or is being too fidgety or being too cautious, because we've got it all going for us tonight.
2-2 pitch to Brett. Outside. I think Reg's a little tight. Calm down. You ain't playing.
I feel like I'm playing a ball game, huh?
Oh, you gotta like it when it gets down to the last one, though. Here's where you have your most fun. Here's where the extraordinary becomes ordinary. The pitch, pulled to right field. Base hit for George Brett. And he continues to wear out Figueroa. It's off the wall, and Brett goes into second, standing with a double.
He really owns him.
Got that right. They might be related. I know that he's from Puerto Rico and George Brett's from California, but the way he hits it, he just might own it.
All right, Brett perched at second base, and the batter now is Big John Mayberry, the Kansas City first baseman, who is struggling in the closing hours of this 1976 season. 2 for 14 and 1 run batted in the championship series, hitting 143.
And this is your guy, Keith. You know what he can do. He can rip a ball game open.
High pop left side. It may carry beyond the playing surface, and it does. It's a souvenir.
Does not have a heck of a lot of success against Figueroa. He's 2 for 19 against Figueroa in his career for an average of 105 and has never homered off of him. However, he's got a flair for the dramatic. 3 times this year he knocked in 5 runs. In fact, one of them was against us in Baltimore.
He just missed a grand slam yesterday by about 4 feet down the right field line. George Brett is off second base as we look in from center field, and the pitch is high and away.
You can see again they're staying away from him. He really doesn't have to give Mayberry a good ball to hit. He has first base open and a right-handed hitter on deck. So he doesn't have to come with anything too juicy, and I'm sure that he won't if he doesn't have to.
High shot hit deep to right. May go way up, and
it's 2-0.
Gone.
We have a perfect situation, a perfect example of that right field fence. He hung a curveball to John Mayberry. He got it up in the air, and normally for any other ballpark in the major leagues, except maybe Detroit, tonight, that ball is not a home run. This is why you have to be so cautious. Maybe he should not have pitched to him in this situation. He shouldn't have given him a pitch to hit. Maybe they should have intentionally given him a walk and put him on first base and pitched to the right-handed hitter with the big left field here.
That's the first home run since August 14th for Mayberry.
That's exactly right. And the guy who's now on the spot in the minds of every baseball fan in this country is Billy Martin, because the whole question was, should he start Figueroa, who has never had success against Kansas City. We're at 1-1, Keith.
On Harold McRae, who is playing right field tonight. McRae broke out of his slump in the series yesterday with a double and a triple. So the two big men in the Kansas City order now are showing some power as McRae fouls it back to make the count 1-2. It is so important for Kansas City to have their big man, Mayberry, get the long ball. You just cannot measure the impact of it.
You can't. It's tough to reiterate. He makes the pitcher pitch differently to everyone in the lineup.
Swing and a miss by Hal McRae on a curveball, but Ed Figueroa is damaged as Brett doubles, Mayberry homers, and Kansas City gets a 2-0 lead in the top of the first. Behind the plate for Kansas City, it's Buck Martinez, and on the mound, a power pitcher, hard-throwing Dennis Leonard. Leonard on the year, 17-11. He was not, however, successful in his outing against the Yankees in his first start in the championship series. Kansas City, to back up the note we made earlier on getting out in front, in game number 2, they scored twice in the first inning. Game number 3, they scored 3 times in the first inning. Game number 4, they struck for 3 runs in the second inning, and tonight they have 2 in the first. So it does not always indicate victory for them, obviously, because we come to this final game all even at 2-2. Leading off for the New York Yankees, it is Mickey Rivers at the top of the order, the center fielder. Batting second, it is Roy White, and then Thurman Munson will hit third with Chris Chambliss cleaning up.
I think we should make note of the fact that Mickey Rivers, what we both feel, Keith, along with Howard, is the catalyst to this ball club offensively, and has not been on base that much. He's only 4 for 18.
All right, Reggie Jackson, the pitch is fouled away into the upper deck by Mickey Rivers for strike 1, as Dennis Leonard got the ball where he needs to keep it when he's throwing the fastball. That's outside to this youngster, because Mickey can pull it. There's the breaking pitch. Now, this is the secret for Dennis Leonard. The pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals told me before the ball game, Galen Cisco, that Dennis has to get the breaking pitch over, otherwise he'll be gone. Ball is hit to left. Poquette on the move. Turns, goes
He's in
back.
trouble.
Can't get it. Looked the wrong way. At the last moment, it's off the wall. Rivers going for 3. He's in trouble.
He's got him going.
Poquette was in trouble immediately. He knew the ball was going much deeper than he expected. He turned the wrong way. Let's look at it again.
There's a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Rivers hits the ball a lot further than can be anticipated. Not a power hitter. There you see it way out there by the 387-foot mark. Poquette does the best job he possibly can. Ball hit over his head, and he just can't get to it. Rivers can fly, and there you see the stand-up triple. Keith?
And immediately Paul Splittorff gets up in the Kansas City bullpen, the left-hander who is known as a Yankee killer. And he was so effective for them on Sunday night. You're looking at Roy White, a switch hitter, and the left fielder. He hits it on the ground. Patek backhands, goes to first. On the mound, he's safe, run score.
As we said before, and we'll say it again, it means this much. Mickey Rivers, the catalyst, the offensive catalyst of that Yankee ball club. The infield was back. There you see the fastball. White making contact. They've almost given the New York Yankees a run right here. As you see, the infield is back. Just trying to get an out. The play hit the Patek's right. He tries to make the big long throw. White runs pretty well. Give Mayberry an assist. Give him a little credit for keeping that ball from going into the right field seat.
Well, Mayberry, who can sometimes nonchalant it, is as good as any first baseman at scooping out the low ball. Patek played it perfectly, but White, a swift-footed left-handed hitter, got down quickly. Now let's take a look in isolation on Mickey Rivers running home on the plate. As Reggie told you, the infield was playing back, giving up a run with a 2-run lead, and that's pro forma. There's Mickey looking back and scoring the first tally for the Yankees. So we got a 2-1 ball game, man on first, bottom of the first, nobody out yet. Mayberry having homered with 1 on. In case you just joined us, in the first inning, Brett had doubled with 2 out.
Paul Splitoff is in the bullpen getting ready in a hurry. Dennis Leonard has had the conference with Whitey Herzog and his catcher, Buck Martinez, and the big worry about Dennis Leonard is, as Reggie noted earlier, he's an emotional person.
Very much so, Keith. He's an emotional kind of a guy. He said he was going to go out and just give it all he had. In fact, they knew he's an emotional guy. Consequently, he didn't know he was pitching until he came to the ballpark today. They didn't want to let him sleep on it because he probably wouldn't have been able to sleep on it. Thurman Munson, Keith.
A .389 hitter. The Yankees have 12 doubles in this series in 4 games. 2-1 Kansas City as they throw to first to keep Roy White close. Both teams down with 2 base hits. Nobody out for New York. Run home and White on first.
Stop play, balloon on field. That's become rule of thumb here at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees with an electrically excited group of fans all year long. Standing room only house tonight. We may be over 58,000 people.
The fastball is low. Thurman Munson for ball 1.
He's going to go right at him, as you see. I'm sure that they went out and had a conference in the mound and told him, just settle down and relax. As we stated before, and we'll say it again and again, because we feel it's important. It is important. He's an emotional guy. Got great ability, great talent. Let's keep it in control. I'm sure that's what they said to him.
Wire goes Roy White. Munson swings and misses. Martinez throws too late. Second base.
Roy White got a perfect jump on the ball. It was no contest. Martinez never had a chance.
There's a big jump.
It's a good jump. He takes his glance like he's supposed to. See Patek with the excellent position. Again, no chance. Don't even bother to make a tag. Lee Buck Martinez had a little trouble finding the handle on that ball, Keith.
Yep. Still nobody out for New York. Bottom of the first inning. A 2-1 ball game, and White at the turn with Munson up 1-1.
Now we've got no outs, and I'm sure that Thurman, if he's going to get a base hit, will try to get it to right field. So if he does not get a hit, he'll advance the runner by hitting the ball to the right side of the infield. There you see him try, swing late, and try to advance that runner. That's the name of the game. Get that man over there with 1 out or less than 2 outs. You have the opportunity to score him with an error, a ground ball, or a fly ball.
1-2 count now on the Yankee catcher as Dennis Leonard trying to weather a first-inning storm. Splitoff is active in the Kansas City bullpen. Munson settles in. 1-2. Billy Martin standing in the Yankee dugout. Popped up right side, foul.
You looked at Billy Martin. The face is tense. Why not? It's the biggest thing in his life, and it should be. And you will see next inning. The moment there's a sign of faltering further by Figueroa, Martin will have his bullpen working and have Figueroa out.
Center fielder Al Cowens playing Munson toward right center, giving him left center. Figures, in fact, knows he's trying to hit it. But instead he goes to the hole and pulls it to left. Base hit. Here comes Roy White, holding at third as the throw is cut off by Mayberry. Down the throw in, Munson goes to second.
Now that's intelligent base running. We pointed out yesterday that Munson, while not the swiftest man in the world, is relatively fleet for a catcher. Leonard is going out right now. Herzog's not going to live with this any longer. Second time the Yankees have done away with Leonard. Second time Leonard's had a 2-run lead. First time he lost it. It was 3-2 when Splitoff came on. Now it's still 2-1, but men on second and third and none out. And Munson then played exceptionally smart ball.
We have Chris Chambliss coming up as the next hitter. He is a left-handed hitter. That means it is time to bring the left-hander in from the bullpen, Paul Splitoff.
I'll bring Splitoff in right now. The left-handed pitcher. to face the almost entirely left-handed hitting Yankee lineup.
Well, it forces Billy Martin's hand pretty early,
No question
too.
about it. He's gone on and put his left-handed hitters in. Carlos May, Oscar Gamble, and of course now Whitey has the left-handed pitcher coming in to throw to those guys for at least the next 2 or 3 at-bats. If he uses the other fellas, Lou Piniella and Elliot Maddox, he gets a chance to use up Billy Martin's 2 left-handed pitch hitters already. Or right-handed pinch hitters, I should say. I got it all fouled up, huh? They got me. I'm as nervous as they are.
It happens, Reggie.
So now here is Paul Splittorff. Into the ball game as Whitey Herzog goes back. Splittorff was an outstanding performer in the first part of the season when Kansas City ran off to a big lead in the American League Western Division. He finished the year 11-8 after tearing the sheath in the index finger of his left hand, and it took him a very long time to get over it. A small little injury, but when a pitcher depends almost entirely on that.
Totally disabling injury to a pitcher. So they had to, as we pointed out on Sunday night, send him back to the instructional league. And then on the hope, and Paul said suddenly it began to feel well again, the tendonitis you've described in the finger. And the hope that Paul was right. And he was, well, they brought him back, worked him the last day of the season against Minnesota. He did not impress. But the documented record is clear. This guy is a Yankee nemesis. The Yankee history has had a number of nemesis. Once there was a pitcher with Detroit, a good little right-hander named Frank Larry. All he had to do was throw his glove out in the mound. Gone were the Yankees.
Splittorff was the winning pitcher on Sunday night. 5 2/3 innings, no earned runs. He worked 4 full innings, struck out 1, and walked 2. So he gets an early call at the bottom of the first inning. And he will be pitching now with nobody out to Chris Chambliss, Carlos May, unless we get a change there, and Greg Nettles, all 3 left-handed hitters. Roy White is at third base for New York, and Thurman Munson is at second base. 1 run in, nobody out. The pitch is very high to Chambliss. Chris, 6'1", 210 pounds, and there is Roy White edging off third.
And remember what we've told you about Chambliss's ability to hit left-handers.
Munson up at second there. Now back to the man at third, the lead runner. The ball 1 pitch to Chambliss is hit into left field. That should score White. He's quick. The throw from Poquette, it's a good throw, but it's off the mark. And the game is tied.
That's getting it back even in a hurry. Now Figueroa's got a fresh start. It's 0-0 again. And let's start over. We've now got 8.5 innings to play. 8 2/3.
Roy White in the dugout. Thurman Munson perched out at second base. You've got 1 out on the sacrifice fly by Chris Chambliss. And Billy Martin is going to let Carlos May hit.
He's got to let him hit for a couple of times at least, Billy Martin does, Keith.
Right.
To the fact that he'll completely waste him if he goes in and pinch hits for him right now.
Two for 6 in the championship series, the 4 games we played. Note how far up the bat handle May goes. Chokes way up on it, and here's the pitch from Splittorff. Over for a call strike. Waiting on deck, Greg Nettles.
Remember, May always looks, almost by habit, by ritual, at a couple of pitches.
The strike 1 pitch from Splittorff. Swing and a miss for strike 2.
That time, he swung on the second
that
pitch. He really looked at it.
Thurman Munson at second base with 1 out.
Concentration, intensity in a guy's face.
Rerun of the signs from Buck Martinez. And Splittorff checks at second. Munson off. Pitch to May. Popped up on the left side, out of play.
Whitey Herzog did not start Splittorff because he knows he has pitched sparingly over the latter half of the season because of the injury that Keith described. Now he finds himself in the position of having to put Paul in when he didn't think he could go a full game in the very first inning. There were none out when Paul came on. One cannot reasonably expect, despite the nemesis factor, that Paul will be able to go all the way, maybe 6 innings.
Punch foul. Now
Again,
holds at 2 strikes. Billy Martin.
well, I wonder what he's thinking right now. I can't help you.
Munson on second with 1 out. And the 2-strike pitch. Hit out into left center field. Al Cowan's coming up, makes the one-handed catch. Munson retreats to the bag at second. You've got 2 down.
Come on and doing the job. Got 2 retired. Made a good pitch right there. I could see that Buck Martinez was sitting outside. Split arm hit the mitt. He got the fly ball. He got the 2 outs. And here's the home run king,
Greg Nettles.
At 32 in the regular season, Jackson at 27.
Reggie got a late start.
That's true. Reggie did remarkably.
Pitch to Nettles. High inside, ball 1. One of Greg Nettles' home runs here at Yankee Stadium, a high fly ball, as you look at his stance. But the second shot he hit was exactly that, a bullet. Rifled it into the seats. Playing with a very sore right ankle. Pitch is outside, throw back to second. Munson's back.
Well, you don't expect to see those kind of chances taken right there, but the guys, even though there's a great deal of pressure on the game, they're going on and playing it the way it should be.
Let's look at Nettles' ankle. There, the protective. Yes, Ray.
That right there comes from fouling a lot of balls off on the instep of his foot. Just a little protection right
Almost
there.
always the front foot, too. Foul back.
No question about it. That comes from being a pull hitter, trying to get the bat out in front to see if he can reach that little short porch where the big payoff is.
If you hit yourself much, there's Oscar Gamble on deck. Keith told you about him. 17 homers on the year. Was a very important cog in this Yankee machine as they won the Eastern Division in the American League.
Cleveland and was allowed to play as soon as he got a haircut.
Right. And to get rid of that hair. Munson on second. Keith.
2-1 pitch now. Nettles. High pop left side. Might be a play on it. Patek. Brett together. Patek. Short left. Down the line, makes the catch. The inning is over. So the Yankees and the Royals, after 1 complete inning of play in game number 5, all even at 2-2. With the score even at 2-2, we go to the top of the second inning for Kansas City. Jamie Quirk, the designated hitter. Cookie Rojas, the second baseman, and Fred Patek, the shortstop. We're getting toward the bottom part of the Kansas City order, and it was the bottom 2/3 of that Kansas City batting order yesterday that did all the damage. Jamie Quirk, a triple yesterday, and 2 runs batted in. He scored himself, and he hits it a dart down the right side, foul.
Yes, he did, and that's not the way to start off an inning. Eddie, go back and rub that ball up, and spit in that hand, and rub it down and in and out. Talk to the ball, maybe.
He's still remembering that hanging curve he threw to Mayberry. Dreadful pitch.
Should talk to the ball.
Fouled off the other way.
The ball was not doing nice things.
So Quirk now, the youngster out of Whittier, California, with a 2-strike count. Leading off for Kansas City, top of the second inning, takes high. It's 1-2. It's up, well up.
Got to keep that ball down if he wants to stay alive much longer.
There you see Thurman Munson telling Eddie Figueroa to follow through on the ball. He's been leaving the ball up high and not following through quite well enough for Thurman. He's telling him to throw this ball up right here. He's missing the target, Keith.
That one was inside at the knees. It's 2-2.
You can see Thurman trying to give him direction on a ball, and he's not getting the ball where Thurman would like it to be. He called for that ball to be upright there, and the ball was inside and about thigh high.
Fouled off. Count holds 2-2. There's Cookie at 37 years of age. But he was a very important figure yesterday in the victory for Kansas City. He's also very steadying influence defensively. Ball is hit to left field. Roy White circles over, makes the catch. Ball was hit hard.
Yes, it was. He threw it where he wanted to. See Thurman called for him to keep the ball away, turn the ball over so it'll sink. Got it where he wanted to, and Quirk hit it where he wanted to, right on the button.
Now the batter is Cookie Rojas. You noticed when he was introduced, if you were with us for the introduction of the players, had a lollipop in his mouth. Says it's energy. Also something to chew on before the anxieties get you down. Figueroa blazes the fastball in for a strike ball.
He also watches Telly Savalas.
88 miles an hour on the fastball. The score is all even at 2-2 here at the top of the second inning. It's now 1-1 to Cookie Rojas. This program an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. Keith Jackson, Howard Cosell, and Reggie Jackson sitting here in the booth overlooking the field of play at Yankee Stadium in the final game, the game that means the American League pennant. And a chance, if you can call it that, to go play the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series. Rojas delivers it up the middle, base hit for Cookie. So Cookie Rojas picks up his third hit in 6 trips. He's hitting an even .500.
Definitely doing the job that they asked him to do. They put him in the lineup. They were looking for some leadership, some stability, and he sure is providing it. 37 years old. You can call it old if you want to, but when I get to 37, I sure hope I don't feel like I'm old. I hope I can feel like I can play baseball if I want to. They called him old, but 37's not old, is it, guys?
We told you yesterday it was a very good year.
I like hearing it.
You're not that far away, Reg.
Something to look forward to and something for us to look back on, I suppose. Here is Fred Patek now, the shortstop for Kansas City. And Fred Patek having a good series. 6 hits, 14 at-bats. He has 4 runs batted in. He's been outstanding defensively. 5'4", 144 pounds. Ball 1, the count. Strike call. 1-1, breaking pitch was in. Freddie played last year up in the 60s. He lost 20 pounds at the suggestion of his manager, Whitey Herzog, and Whitey checks him once a week, and for every pound over 145, it costs him $100. Outside corner, just on the black. And in case you don't know what that means, home plate is edged in black, and if you can get the ball in that area, you've got a pretty fair pitch.
It's a little perimeter about 1 inch wide that goes around the whole plate, and when you're doing that, you are what we call in baseball dealing.
1-2 pitch to Patek is high. 2-2.
You're in charge.
Cookie Rojas is on first. You've got 1 out. Quirk is gone, but Quirk hit it hard.
It's kind of versatility this guy has had.
With 2 out now, Rojas off second base, and the pitch to Buck Martinez. And we've been told now, I was introduced to Buck originally as Martinez. Reggie Jackson's middle name spelled the same way, pronounced Martinez. Reggie's been calling him Buck Martinez for I don't know how many years, but now we're told that the absolute correctness of the pronunciation is Martinez. Right field, base hit.
3-2.
Ball gets away, and Buck ahead for second. Cookie scores. Buck safe at second. It's a 3-2 ball game.
I think I'm just going to call him Buck from now on because my middle name is Martinez, and I don't know what to call him. There you see Buck go with the pitch quite well. Ball outside. Gamble charges the ball. Doesn't take a bad hop. He just kicks the ball. Bounces off over to his right. Here comes Mickey Rivers. Makes a throw in a second, but bucks in with a sliding double.
No,
Two
error.
things, thus the importance of Rojas getting the second. And secondly, Martinez, or Martinez as we will now call him, in accordance with owner Ewing Kaufman's dictates, Martinez,
Buck number 21.
a hidden hero in this series. Many key hits.
Al Cowan's top of the order is up there. It is officially a single for Martinez and an error on the right fielder, Oscar Gamble.
And action in the Yankee bullpen, as expected.
Figueroa on the corner with a strike. 1-1. Cowan.
We've got some action in the bullpen, but I don't know if it's as expected, Howard, because it's Grant Jackson, and everybody's still wondering where Kenny Holtzman is.
Martinez off second base. Buck with a big lead. Ball tapped over the mound. Randolph has it. Throws to first, and the inning is over. But the Kansas City Royals regained the lead here in the top of the second inning. After 1.5, lead the Yankees 3-2.
He gave his lollipop to Cookie Rojas for the evening. Telly Savalas. The only one, not Yulbrenner, but Telly Savalas.
Oh, me. Well, I thought it was Otis Sistrom.
Otis, number 80, Oakland Raiders.
Bottom third of the order now for the Yankees. Oscar Gamble, Willie Randolph, and Fred Stanley. As we go to the bottom of the second inning, and it's foul. And I'll guarantee you if that one had gone into the crowd, somebody would have had some sore fingers.
Did I say 80? 60.
The man of the hour, Keith.
All split off. Dennis Leonard pitched to 3 hitters, had very little success, and Splitoff was summoned. And he did the job, and it's now 2 strikes on Oscar Gamble as Oscar looks at a breaking pitch, and it's in on the corner.
Let's make note of the fact he's come on and he's pitched well already. He's starting to set a pattern, starting to get in a groove.
That one's high and away. 1-2.
They've got to stop him before he gets going. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You see him get the pitch, get it to 0-2, and then he'll go away with a bad pitch. Cardinal rule: don't give up a base hit with 2 strikes and no balls on a hit.
Just missed. 2-2. Oscar Gamble, who represents home run power.
Now let's make note. If he comes back into the strike zone now, he's got things working for him.
Got him on the outside corner. Strike 3 call. 1 out.
He might have it going. You see a guy set a pattern like that. He makes a couple of pitches, gets a couple of good strikes, and he tries to get the hitter to go after a bad pitch to see if he'll swing in a bad ball. Why give him a good pitch when you have things going? When you want to come back and you have the ability to make a good pitch like that, you're in great shape.
Willie Randolph takes a fastball down the pipe. Strike 1 call. Willie 2 for 14 and a run batted in.
And he didn't like it either. He didn't like that call.
One and 1 to Willie. Two and 1. Splitoff pitching fine. Saw him strike out Gamble with a F the ball on the plate. Art French, the plate umpire. 2 and 1 pitch. Popped up. Out into short right. Coming over. Al McRae staggers a little bit, but makes the catch.
That's a designated hitter playing the outfield.
Playing a new position. He hasn't played a lot of defense all year long, and due to the injury to Amos Otis, out with the ankle injury after the first ball game, he's got to force to play the outfield now because Whitey is trying to get as much offense into the ball game as possible. Consequently, making the designated hitter Jamie Quirk. Keith?
Fred Stanley, Yankee shortstop, 9th hitter in the order. Takes it a little high. Ball 1. 2 out. Nobody on. Kansas City leading 3-2, bottom of the second inning. Game 5, the last one of the American League Championship Series. There's a strike, gets 1-1. And I'll tell you this, Splittorff looks very quick.
He is firing the ball. He is totally confident against this particular ball club. His only question will be stamina if one goes by what's happened in the past.
Just low. It's 2-1. We time him at 90 miles an hour on the fastball. Incidentally, we had Ellie Howard hit some one-bouncers on the infield at Kansas City and here in Yankee Stadium to give you some difference between artificial turf and real grass. We'll define that later. Bouncer to Brett at third base. George is through on the money. Fred Stanley is out. The inning is over. The Yankees gone in order after 2 complete innings of play. It's Kansas City 3, New York 2. For the Kansas City Royals in the top of the 3rd inning, it's Tom Poquette, George Brett, and John Mayberry. To finish the story on the AstroTurf or the Tartan turf or whatever the artificial surface might be, Ellie Howard hit a bunch of ground balls the other day in Kansas City. We took the Jugs radar gun. Then he came to Yankee Stadium and hit 20 ground balls. Same stroke, certainly not a scientific measurement, but the difference, the artificial turf is roughly 8 miles an hour faster than real grass.
And to see if we can go a little bit further, we've had Figueroa clock tonight one time at 92 miles an hour, and then we've seen Nolan Ryan, the fastest pitcher in the game, at right around 100. That's an 8 mile an hour difference.
Ball bunted, Figueroa traps, throws, Poquette's out. Poquette trying to drag it to the right side, did not get it far enough around, and Figueroa made a good play on it.
You know, Keith, we asked many of the members of the Cincinnati Reds whom they would most want to play against in the World Series and why. And during the course of this contest, you're going to be meeting many of the Cincinnati Reds. Guys like Peppery Pete Rose, Slugging George Foster, and the rest of that awesome bunch, including Johnny Bench. And you'll hear from them.
Now here's the man that figures he owns Figueroa. George Brett hitting .467 in the championship series. He's at bat here in the top of the 3rd. He doubled off Figueroa and scored a run in the 1st inning. Fouls this one over the left side, out of play.
He went in there first pitch with a changeup, then came back, and you saw Munson twist his hand a little bit, turn the ball over, try to keep the ball away from Brett. There's really no way to pitch Brett. However, in this ballpark, you've almost got to stay away from him because he can still turn that ball and hit that ball in the right field bleachers. And the way he's hit Ed Figueroa's got to be careful.
1 out, nobody on as Poquette tried to bunt and was thrown out by the pitcher. And that one's high and tight. Hello.
In the meantime, Figueroa has given up 4 hits and 3 runs in 2 1/3 innings, and therefore action continues in the Yankee bullpen.
Brett Jackson warming up, left-hander. 1-2 to Brett. Foul. Big John Mayberry on deck. 2-run home run, 1st inning.
It's your man, Keith.
Well, in baseball, you talk about the law of averages, and when you're that big and that strong with a stick in your hand, sooner or later something's going to happen. 1-2 to Brett. A high fly ball into center field for Mickey Rivers. 2 gone. This game telecast under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of the viewing audience. In any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of the game without the explicit written consent of Major League Baseball prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as charging admission for its showing, similarly prohibited. 2 out, bases clean, Mayberry up. Goes well away. Ball 1.
Well, he knows what he can do to him. He's going to establish the fact he's going to try to stay away from him, and I'm sure that they've told him in the dugout last inning that they've had great success with Mayberry by keeping the ball away from him. Not like that.
Hard shot to right. Willie Randolph slips, falls down, throws, gets in. So the defensive shift by the New York Yankees pays off as Mayberry hits it hard to Randolph. The Kansas City Royals going in order. 2.5. It's 3-2 Royals.
Whom would you like to play?
I like to say New York, but I think there's a lot of tradition with the Yankees being in the World Series. Ever since I was a little kid, whenever you think of the World Series, I used to think of the New York Yankees. And also, personally, I would, because I feel that I know their pitching staff. And I'm not implying I can hit their pitching staff, but I personally feel more comfortable batting off the pitchers that I faced before. And I faced Hunter, I faced Holzman, I faced Doyle Alexander, Grant Jackson, and fellas like that. So, you know, I would feel more comfortable by facing the Yankees, although Kansas City's got a fine ballpark.
Some comments of the man who made belly flopping and stealing bases fashionable, the scrappy leader of the Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose. The batter now for the New York Yankees, as we go to the top of the order, is Mickey Rivers. Roy White will follow, and then comes Thurman Munson. World Series opens on Saturday, and Mickey Rivers, who hit a triple to lead off for New York and scored a run in the bottom of the first inning, fouls it away.
And Petey's audio, Keith, wasn't that distinct. He wants to play the Yankees, as you could have deduced.
Hit up the middle. So Mickey Rivers, with a .341 batting average against Paul Splitoff, is having a big night. A triple and a single and 2 trips to the plate for Mickey, leading off for the Yankees.
He makes him go. He's hit .351 off a split-off for his career, so I'm sure we'll see some action down there by Rivers. Will he run? Will he get something going? I'm sure that he will. You get a guy like that on the bases, makes things happen. He's got your infielders wondering who's going to cover second base if he goes down the field. He's got all kinds of movement happening. The catcher's thinking about making a good throw. He takes and distracts from the concentration of the pitcher. Keeps him from thinking completely about the hitter.
But the left-hander should be able to keep him a little bit closer to the bag. Mayberry holds against him. Roy White slides up the bat handle as if to bunt and move him up towards second base. Pulls it back and takes ball one. Elston Howard is the coach at first for New York, and Dick Hauser is the coach at third.
We've got it going now. Listen to the crowd.
Kansas City leading 3-2. New York at bat, bottom of the third inning. Splitoff is retired prior to Mickey Rivers' 6th straight. And he makes an easy throw to keep Mickey close, with Thurman Munson waiting in the on-deck circle, the big Yankee captain and catcher. Roy White, a switch hitter, the left fielder. Outside with a breaking pitch, and it is 2-0.
You got to get this runner over to second base, get him in the scoring position. See all kinds of things happening out there. Your outfielders are wondering what to do with the ball, getting it in their minds what to do with it if he hits the ball in the outfield, where to throw it, because Rivers can fly. We're going to see some action on the bases now. Keith?
Does not go. Pitch is in there for a strike. 2-1.
It's surprising. 2 balls and no strikes, and he takes the ball. That's a time when you can just about crank up and let it fly.
It's either that or a breaking pitch. You've got a chance to lay it down. Nice soft stroke. I think Billy Martin a little bit disturbed that Roy didn't put that one down, if the bunt has in fact been called. Apparently it has. Two and one. Go to first. On to the inside there. Mayberry having to scratch it as Whitey Herzog looks on from the dugout. There's Martin. And they go to first.
Trying to keep him close just to see if they can take that one extra step away from him. Just may keep him from going to third base on a base hit. May help him get a double play at second base, because as you said before, and you can't say it enough, he can fly low to the ground.
That one's high and away. Snap throw to first, and Rivers is back.
Keeping him in check.
Well, Buck took a shot at him.
You can see now, it's very obvious the attention that Mickey Rivers is drawing. Throws over to first base, throws from the catcher, excitement from the crowd. He just turns everybody on, turns on the action, makes things happen.
Three and one to White. Outside, ball 4. Well, that's what they wanted.
That's right. There you go. Take a little concentration away from Splitoff, because he was sailing along.
Now with nobody out, you've got Yankees at second and first. And both of them can really run. Rivers and White. And Thurman Munson. Power at the plate.
This is really the first time that Splitoff has been in trouble against the Yankees in 2 outings. Now let's see how he reacts. Remember, he has pitched but sparingly this year, at least the last half of the year.
Munson hit a home run off Splitoff earlier in the season. The only hit that he had off Splitoff. Now you have Hassler and Patton both throwing in the Kansas City bullpen. Nobody out. Rivers on second and White on first for New York. And Al Cowens is playing Munson in right center. Left center is wide open, and so is the area down the line. And the curve is way off the mark.
Maybe running into a few problems. We're going to get a little conference right now from Galen Cisco. Been having some problems right now. Try to get him back on the track. Take a little pause. Keith?
The old Buckeye fullback going to the mound. He's been the pitching coach at Kansas City for 6 seasons, walking out with George Brett. Obviously, the presence of Mickey Rivers on base, a disturbing influence on Splitoff as Andy Hassler throws hard in the bullpen, along with Marty Patton. Patton has not pitched in the series, neither is Al Fitzmaurice. Hassler has. There they are. The left-hander is Hassler, and the right-hander is Patton.
Well, if Splitoff has to go, and that remains to be seen, it hasn't eventuated yet. Probably Herzog will want to go with the southpaw. Keep that southpaw lineup in. The Yankees not being on the record as effective against southpaws as against right-handers all year long.
Tendency to agree with you, Howard, even though he pitched here Monday, or Tuesday rather. I have to agree with you because I want to keep the left-hander on the left-handed hitting lineup for the Yankees.
Runner's edge off. The pitch to Munson. Punch, foul down the first base side. No matter how
cold, the Yanks are hot. Well, we'll see about that. Thurman trying to hit to right behind the runners. Reggie expounded on that in Thurman's earlier time at bat.
Men on first and second right now. Nobody out. Let's get him in a scoring position. 105 RBIs. He's been known to chauffeur him home.
Check at second. Pitch to Munson. Hit down the right side and in the cloud. Just foul.
I know the feeling, Hal. McRae. I've been in right field myself, too. I was hoping that ball would go foul, too, if I'd have been out there. I'm right with you, big guy.
McRae makes the move on that ball. If it's fair and he makes the catch, Rivers would be sitting on third with 1 out.
Possibly White also, because Hal does not throw real well, Keith.
Right. No, Rivers would have moved up. Nobody out, and it's 1-2 on Thurman Munson. Fouled off again over the right side and back in the crowd.
Thurman still trying to manipulate that bat, hit it to right field. Splitoff is an interesting kid to study, Reggie, when he's on the mound with those specs, seemingly squinting even through them to catch the signs. Look.
It used to be a scary sight. Ryan Dern out there a little bit wild, 100 miles an hour. Look out. Thurman Munson.
1-2 pitch. Foul. Down on the third base side, out of play. And Mickey Rivers way down the line, headed toward third.
Suddenly Paul was low and inside. That can be a terribly dangerous pitch to Thurman Munson.
Well, he's a pretty good hitter. Well, not a pretty good hitter, but a great hitter. So he's got to pitch him tough. He's got a .476 lifetime average against Paul Splitoff. Got a base hit off him last time. He's 2 for 3 off him in the series. So he's got to be careful. Again, just a bluff right there, but he's got to try to keep Mickey Rivers close. If you can get that one extra step or keep him from getting the extra step, it may mean the difference in scoring a run or not. No one in the outfield with the Royals has a great arm. And, boy, that little guy can put the pressure on you, Mickey Rivers.
Wind is blowing almost straight out from home plate right now. Ball is hit. Center field for a base hit. Here comes Mickey Rivers around third. He will score. The throw in to the second baseman, Rojas, as White goes to third. A single for Thurman Munson. It produces a run, and we've got a ball game all even again at 3-3.
Never say die for the Yankees. They've done it all year long. You drive in 100 runs, you drive in 100 runs, you can do something all the time. He's been their big pressure guy. You can see why he's being heavily considered for the most valuable player award, because he's driving in big, important runs.
He's an exceptional player, Keith. And the big thing here is that they've broken through against Fletcher, the guy who was plagued them. Now confetti being thrown all over the field, the game being delayed as they do sanitation work to the premises.
Well, it's the same thing in any sport, I guess. When it's down, closing seconds of a ball game, basketball game, give the ball to Jerry West, give it to Rick Barry. And you're in a hockey game, get it to Bobby Orr. You're in a baseball game, the guys on the bench look for the big guys. And I guess that's why that some of the salaries are inflated, or whatever you want to say. But when the money's on the line, you expect to get it from the big guys. And the big guys want to be there in those situations.
Please,
just like you, Howard. Big time, you got to be there.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Put it on the table, Rich.
Out in the bullpen for the Kansas City Royals.
Looks like Marty Patton.
That's exactly who it is, Marty Patton. Andy Hassler alongside of him. A pitch to Chris Chambliss. The Yankee first baseman fouls it off, and Dick Hauser makes the play.
Make note of the infield, the way it's sitting right now. They're back in double play depth. A ground ball to second base or shortstop, and they won't have a play at Roy White at the plate. So they're conceding a run to see if they can get the double play.
White edging off third. There he is, and nobody out. Yankees bidding for the lead in the ball game here in the bottom of the third inning.
You see a situation here where he might try to pitch Chambliss up to see if he can get a pop-up. He hits the ball anywhere, unless it's first or third, they're going to give up a run.
1-1 count on Chris. Foul back, it's 1-2. I'll tell you, you've got to swallow a little hard when you start throwing Chambliss up high, though, because he can lose it. There's Roy White sitting at third base, representing the go-ahead run for New York, and Thurman Munson is over at first base. Nobody out.
A tough situation right here. What makes men and what makes pros, he's just got to go after him. He's got no choice. He's got to try to either strike him out or pop him up, and the way to do it is by pitching him up.
What we have here in the bottom of the third inning is a rerun of what happened in the bottom of the first inning.
It's true.
First and third, nobody down.
Ball toward Cookie Rojas. They go to second, get one. The run scores. Throw back to first. Throws him off the bag. White scores. Yankees lead 4-3.
See what kind of slide Thurman Munson came up with. As I said, they'll be given the run up, going into home, going after the double play, trying to get 2 outs. They believe they're going to score more runs this ball game. The throw to second, and there's Munson. Didn't quite see it, but he took Patek out of the play and caused a bad throw. Nice job by Mayberry. Nice job by Munson. Another little thing that's not shown in the scorebook. Break up that double play. Now only 1 out instead of 2. And here's Carlos May. Keith?
4 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Yankees. 3 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for Kansas City. The Yankees are cooking here in the bottom of the third as May hits a high fly ball into center field. Al Cowan's drifting in and has the second out of the inning. Chris Chambliss comes back to first, having been aboard safely on that fielder's choice as Kansas City missed on the effort at the double play. New York won the opener 4-1. Kansas City came back 7-3. Then New York 5-3. Then Kansas City 7-4. And this is the final game in the best-of-5 championship series. The batter will be Greg Nettles. Ball split off, steps off the pitching rubber as Hal McRae is doing some cleaning up out in right field. Greg Nettles, high pop down the left field line and short left as Fred Patek made the play on him. So he's 0 for 1. But you can see he has hit a couple of home runs.
Big day yesterday.
2 out now. Chambliss off first. 2 runs in. Split-off pitch just outside. Cowens plays Nettles in deep right center. McRae. Well back in right. Just outside again. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, he's behind right now 2-0. I'm sure you won't see Mr. Nettles being bashful.
Cowens plays Nettles in deep right center. McRae. Well back in right. Just outside again. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, he's behind right now 2-0. I'm sure you won't see Mr. Nettles being bashful. He'll be letting the shaft out, as they say in golf. Getting the old one wood out, the driver.
High fly ball. Freddie Patek goes back. Cowens comes in. Patek is the man. Makes the catch. And the inning is over. But the New York Yankees strike for 2 runs, and after 3 complete innings of play, take a 4-3 lead over the Royals.
Bob Bailey, Cincinnati Reds. Who do you want to play in the series?
Well, I think there's still some magic attached to the Yankees, and if I had my preference, I'd prefer to go to Yankee Stadium and play there. I've never been there, and it'd be quite an experience.
Bob is no longer that svelte young man that came out of Long Beach, is he?
No, he was some big bonus baby with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was supposed to become one of the greatest Pirates ever played. That didn't happen either. He's been around. Montreal.
Probably be one of the designated hitters for Sparky Anderson in the World Series. You're looking at Hal McRae, who spent the better part of the season for Kansas City as a designated hitter. He stands at the plate. And following Hal McRae, then we'll have Jamie Quirk and Cookie Rojas, and McRae pops it up to the infield. Chambliss gets the call from the pitcher, Figueroa, puts it away. Big Ed directing traffic. Didn't want anybody fooling with his first baseman on that one.
Let me tell you, Keith, I thought split off got away cheaply. 1 in, men on first and third, none out. Got out of it. Chambliss on the force, and then retired the left hand. But his major problem is going to be, from here on in, stamina. I think it's clear already that having come on in the third on Sunday night past and worked through the 8th, he is not as sharp as he was on Sunday night.
Now it is Jamie Quirk, the designated hitter, facing the right-hander Ed Figueroa. 28 years of age today. Hits it over the mound. Stanley charges. Throws on the run. Gets it.
That's one of my favorite plays right there, Keith. Shows how much agility, how much movement, how much lateral movement a guy has. Really shows what kind of athlete a guy is. Don't have to hit a lot of home runs. Don't have to hit a lot of great average, but look at the movement, the ability. They call it in baseball how much cat a fella has in him, how he moves.
Did you see how much he was thrown out by? Remember, we remarked yesterday, Reggie, Quirk is without foot speed.
Cookie Rojas, single, stolen base, scored a run. Back in the 2nd inning for Kansas City. Yankees are leading here in the top of the 4th, 4-3. And Rojas hits a fly ball. It's well hit to White and left. Roy back to make the catch, and Kansas City is gone in order. So after 3.5 innings of play in the championship game, the Yankees lead the Royals 4-3. Back here at Yankee Stadium for the Yankees, it'll be Oscar Gamble, Willie Randolph, and Fred Stanley, and Telly Savalas.
Way to go, Telly.
Telly's all wrapped up in all that fur, but out in the Yankee bullpen, it looks like they've got some kind of a small container out there and a small fire to keep themselves warm. Bottom of the fourth inning. For the Yankees, they lead 4-3. Paul Splitoff delivers to Gamble, and he goes up to bunt it. Foul tips it, and it's strike one. Gamble struck out looking. Willie Randolph will follow, and then Stanley. Bottom third of the order has not been able to break through against Splitoff so far. It's been the top of the order that's done all the damage so far in the game for New York.
Gamble hasn't played against left-handers all year long. He's hit 15 home runs off right-handers, only 2 off left-handers. He's only hit 178, Howard.
Fouled away and into the crowd, and of course we've covered the point as well that Billy Martin wants to keep Elliott Maddox and Lou Piniella for later in the game in case he needs some pinch hitting. Ellie Hendricks, though, the catcher, came up and delivered, and the only time he's been called on in the series is Splitoff throws hard outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes now, the count.
Special quality to be a pinch hitter. There we see Splitoff. In control. Can he keep dealing? Aces.
I'll tell you, that took a little courage on Oscar's part to take that.
Yes,
pitch,
it did.
was
You see again, ball and 2 strikes, and he went and tried to make a pitch. So maybe he's starting to settle back down into a groove again. I believe Kansas City will score again. So the Yankees better get some action going.
Just low. In fact, quite low. Yankee Stadium. Rebuilt in a way and refurbished a lot to the tune of about $100 million.
55 million of which was the allocated cost to the city.
Peanuts. This is New York.
3-2. Bounce past the pitcher. Rojas got a hurry. Cookie snaps it. Mayberry scoops it. A good play by John.
Excellent play.
Big league all the way. There he is, providing leadership and stability to the ball club, doing his job.
Rojas made a good play, but so did Mayberry. Now watch this. Got a half a pound of dirt with it. Doesn't matter. Here's Willie Randolph. Hits it to the right side. Bang, bang. Mayberry. 2 gone. They do make it look easy, don't they?
He's got good hands for a big man.
Sure does.
Good, soft hands. Not like mine. In fact,
I noticed that yesterday when you poured your coffee all over everything.
I was thinking about signing a glove contract with Bethlehem Steel.
Ball is inside. 1-0 now, and you are looking at Fred Stanley, the Yankee shortstop.
He's had an interesting series thus far. Look at that batting average.
Just off the outside corner. 2 out, nobody on.
Well, again, here's a guy that knows his limitation and his capacities. Just try to hit the ball to right field. Just try to move it around. Just get it over the infielder's head because he knows he's not a home run hitter.
But there was one night here, Reggie, during the season. It was against the Minnesota Twins. He hit a home run down the left field line, just foul. He got back up there, and he repeated. This time, just fair. The ball went about 314 feet and in. Home run.
There's the strike. 3-1.
Definitely taking now. Will he be taking on this pitch? We heard about that home run. When a guy like Stanley hit him, everybody in the league opens up their eyes.
Yep, taken all the way. 3-2.
Trying to be a base runner. Trying to get on base. Gotta admire that guy.
That pitch was just low, and Stanley waits him out, gets the free pass.
And it worked. You see him using his ability.
Down the left field line, in toward the home plate here at Yankee Stadium. You can see it is absolute capacity. The wind continues to swirl around, and if it's blowing in any particular direction, it will be straight away. Here's the top of the order now. Mickey Rivers, 2 for 2. You see, a triple and a single, and he has scored twice, and he has been trouble tonight. Swing and a miss.
He's got some of the weirdest actions at the plate of anyone I've ever seen. There's Paul Splittorff, but Mickey Rivers is always moving, always dancing, kind of fidgety kind of a ball player.
Both feet move.
Like he's running in the box.
Oh, one. Just hot. In batting practice tonight, Mickey hit 2 in the seats down the right field line.
He has occasional power, Keith. We've discussed that earlier on in the series, and he proved it in the very opening inning when he tripled over Pocat's head. He hit 1 here this year, a home run into the right center bleachers. It was a tremendous post.
Stanley off first, 2 out for the Yankees. Bottom of the 4th inning, Rivers fouls it away, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mickey. Waiting on deck is Roy White, who's also scored twice tonight. So it's Rivers and White who've done all the scoring. They've gotten all of the Yankee 4 runs. 2 apiece. Go to first.
I don't know if we can get a look, but you see the second baseman and shortstop in constant conversation to see who is going to cover that bag. A sophisticated game, baseball.
Rivers hits it foul down the left side. Got some wood on it, though, and knocks it well back into the crowd.
He really did. He hit that a good piece. A little more to the right. Could have gotten in there. It had that much carry.
There's a lot of things that go on during the baseball game. Even when it's kind of quiet, you have your second baseman and shortstop wondering who's going to cover. You have the concentration on the batter by the pitcher and the catcher, and the outfielders wondering where they're going to throw the ball when they receive it during this kind of a situation.
Pull to the right side into right field, base hit. Fred Stanley going around second, heading for third. Throw comes in to Cookie Rojas. We've got Yankees at the corner.
He is a hot hitter tonight. I might as well tell you, folks, that principal owner George Steinbrenner was not happy with Mickey Rivers' performance last night. And he had Mickey privately up in his office after the game, some 30 minutes after the contest had ended, and he let Mickey have a good piece of his mind. Apparently, it took hold, because Mickey is a hot hitter tonight.
Andy Hassler and Marty Patton again in the Kansas City bullpen. With Fred Stanley at third, there's the right-hander Patton.
Always amazes me how somebody that never played the game can tell somebody how to play it.
Don't be bitter.
Roy White at the plate. There's Andy Hassler throwing in the Kansas City bullpen. All 1 on Roy White.
I'll keep it in.
Better have to.
Don't come down the Oakland clubhouse to the Baltimore clubhouse and tell me what to do. Roy White. Need a base hit.
Just high. There's Stanley on third. Rivers on first. 2 out. Bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees lead 4-3. Two balls, no strikes to White. 3 balls, no strikes. I'll tell you this. On that particular pitch now, Reggie Jackson looked to me like Splittorff was trying to reach for a little too much.
Well, Splittorff may get out of this situation. But now, second straight inning, he's had to work very hard again. And there's no way, in my judgment, with the limited amount of pitching he's done this year, that he can go very long tonight.
There's the counsel.
Nemesis should end tonight.
Galen Cisco and Whitey Herzog across the way. It's Billy Martin looking on. Yankee dugout on the first base side, and White's aboard. Bases loaded. 2 out. Time call by Kansas City as Brett will come to the mound.
Oh, he's loaded them up.
Now Whitey Herzog coming out of the dugout. That could be it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be, Keith. We're going to get another pitcher because he doesn't want to look at Thurman Munson. He hits left-handers exceptionally well. He's hit .470 against Paul Splittorff in his career, and he's got a hot bat tonight. He's swinging a bat good. So I'm sure we'll see Marty Patton right now.
Marty Patton. Been around a while. He pitches more now, perhaps with guile than he ever has in his career. So time is called here at the bottom of the 4th inning. The Yankees leading the Royals 4-3, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Well, the Yankees in front 4-3 with 2 out, and the bases loaded now in the bottom of the 4th inning. Paul Splitoff leaves, and 33-year-old Marty Patton, 5'10", 180 pounds, comes in with an 8-14 record on the season, but a very good earned run average, 2.49. The book on Splitoff. He went 3 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 hits, struck out 1, and walked 3. He relieved Dennis Leonard, who pitched to 3 batters and was roughed up for 2 earned runs. And Thurman Munson will be the first man to hit for the New York Yankees against Marty Patton. Munson with a pair of singles in the ball game tonight.
And characterizing Patton, Keith, he is not overpowering, but he's been doing better than expected in the late going of the season. He keeps his fastball away from a right-handed hitter. He can't hold runners according to the scouting reports, and has balked occasionally. That's the scouting report on Marty Patton. Now we get to the nub of it, as you would say. He goes against the Yankees' most solid ball player.
And as Munson walks in for this moment of drama, 56,821 people here, which is a new record for Yankee Stadium. Red Stanley is over there on 3rd base. Mickey Rivers is on 2nd base. Roy White is on 1st. 2 are out. 2 out. Patton now needs to get an out to avoid.
He's swinging a bat good. Royals are facing the stacked deck right now in the Yankees' favor. They got the big gun at the plate with the bases drunk. Loaded or filled.
Ball is hit to left field. Poquette holds his position, makes the catch, and on 1 pitch, Marty Patton gets Thurman Munson. And so Kansas City avoids the big inning as the Yankees are gone. And after 4, it's 4-3, the Yankees. The preceding a message on behalf of Major League Baseball. And now we move to the top of the 5th inning for the Kansas City Royals. It'll be Fred Patek, Buck Martinez, and the top of the order, Al Cowens.
Well, that's the city at night. Downtown, the foot of Manhattan, Battery Park, World Trade Center, that big building which we identified yesterday. There are 2 of them. You only see one behind the other. Back to the action.
With Ed Figueroa pitching to 5'4", Freddie Patek. A swing and a miss on a raking pitch for strike 1.
May I say this, Keith? In perspective, this reminds me of last Sunday night's game. The Yankees went ahead then 3-2. I'll continue in a moment.
Tight with it.
But in that game, if you remember, they had 9 hits after 3 1/3 innings and only 3 runs. Splitoff got away in a potentially destructive situation, explosive, cheaply, and Kansas City got out of it last inning. The Yankees have not capitalized.
Ball is hit high on the right side of the infield. Playable. Chambliss backing up. Chris in foul ground. Makes the catch. 1 out. Ed Figueroa now has retired 7 straight.
Seems to have settled down, Reg.
Yes, he has seemed to have settled down, Howard. He's going to have to get some kind of good rhythm, because I'm sure that at the slightest sign of any slippage at all, that Billy Martin will get him out there, because he's got 4 or 5 guys out there ready, and willing, and able. That's for sure.
Martinez again.
Into left field. Base hit for Buck. Played very well in the series.
He certainly has. He's an unsung leader of this club in this series, coming into it batting .221 on the season, Reg.
No question about it. As we've said before, a short series, anything can happen. A lot of unsung heroes. A lot of unsung heroes, and you never know what can happen. A guy can get a hot bat. Look at Fred Stanley, and of course a guy like Munson that just continues to apply the pressure.
Al Cowens' batting average, however, in the series has been shrinking some here at Yankee Stadium. Now down to 158. He's at the plate and takes ball 1 from Figueroa. We get more action now in the Yankee bullpen. Looks like it might be Jackson again. It is Grant Jackson, number 25, left-hander. There's on the ground. It's over to Stanley. Steps on the bag. Goes to first. Double play. And the inning is over. So after 4.5 innings of play, New York, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Kansas City, 3 runs, 5 hits, no error.
We have Andy Hassler on the mound now in relief, and Don Gullett of the Cincinnati Reds. Whom do you want to go against in the forthcoming World Series?
I have a feeling that New York possibly might win the ball game tonight, but like I say, nobody knows what can happen in a ball game like this. But I'm looking forward, really, going back to New York. We were there in, I think, '73 when we played the Mets, and I think we want to get back to New York. And I've always heard a lot about Yankee Stadium, and I'd like to be there and like to try my luck here.
Comments of Don Gullett of the Cincinnati Reds, the hard-throwing left-hander. Andy Hassler now is the 3rd Kansas City pitcher. I'll tell you, 4th Kansas City pitcher. Marty Patton did his job. He came in through 1 pitch. Got Thurman Munson out, and Marty now sitting in the dugout watching the first appearance in the series for Hassler. He pitched 5 innings, 4 earned runs on 4 hits, struck out 3, and walked 3. On the season, there the total. He's been well documented as having shaken off a thunderous 18-game losing streak with California, waived for the Angels, picked up by Kansas City, finished the year 5-6 for the Royals. And now Andy Hassler, a big 6'5", 215-pounder out of Phoenix, Arizona, delivers to Chris Chambliss, leading off for the New York Yankees. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Chambliss will be followed by Carlos May and then Greg Nettles. And May is in the on-deck circle. Chambliss hits it hard to right center field. May go. It's up against the wall. Al McRae picks it up, throws it in. 2 bases for Chambliss.
It's a beautiful thing to see that man stand up there against left-handers.
Well, left-handers never really have bothered Chris, Howard. Been a consistent ball player. He's played every day since he's been in the big league. It never really has been benched against left-handers, and that's the reason he's had an outstanding season this year. In there every day. That's the only way you can drive in over 90 runs.
I'm sorry, Reg. That's his 9th hit, Keith, in the championship series. That ties Pete Rose.
Right. Hear that, Pete?
Got a man on second base right now. The obvious situation. Will he bunt and try to get him over to third? 4-3. Will they try to make it 5-3? So the other team has to get 3 runs. Keep.
Mark Littell, they call him Country Boy in Kansas City. He is the ace fireman. At least he throws the hardest of all of the relievers for Kansas City. And Carlos May now at the plate. Nobody out, and Chris Chambliss on second base. New York leading 4-3 at the Yankees at bat here in the bottom of the 5th.
Very important to score a run right now. They can put a lot of pressure on Kansas City right now, psychologically, just by taking advantage of this scoring opportunity. If the Kansas City Royals get out of it, they will have some momentum going for them. So a psychological game going right now.
Hassler's pitch, good one.
Tough.
As Carlos tried to bunt it and missed it.
He's tough. Big, 3/4 arm, throwing left-hander, and a little bit wild. Just wild enough to kind of keep you off balance at the plate. He's even tough to bunt, Keith.
Strike 2.
And they didn't bunt. They didn't bunt.
Nope. Nobody out.
He's tough.
The runner over.
This guy is tough. Now Carlos May's job will be to hit the ball to the right side of the infield. Again, can't emphasize enough. You can't say it enough. The name of the game is to win, and to do that, you've got to get runners in scoring position.
Struck him out on 3 pitches.
Well, there was an opportunity where you could have had a pinch hitter, whatever, but the Yankees have a lead right now. Maybe Billy is saving him for an opportune time, or when he feels he really needs it.
Now the batter is Greg Nettles. With 1 out, Chambliss on second base, having doubled to lead the inning. Andy Hassler, the 4th Kansas City pitcher in the ball game. Look at big Andy?
Little problem with the signs. Maybe he didn't want to throw him that pitch. You have a situation where the catcher may have read the scouting report and he knows what the manager wants to do, where he wants to pitch him. Consequently, Andy Hassler may not agree. Let's go out and have a little summit meeting.
Now they're asking Poquette, the Kansas City left fielder, to come in some. Tom is way back at left. They bring him in. The center fielder Cowens well over into right center. And you see the big hole there in left center field for Greg Nettles.
And let's talk about Hassler, who's the main figure right here, going against the home run champion, Greg Nettles. Again, 2 home runs yesterday. But he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Pitched 99 innings in Kansas City and only gave up 2. Over 147 innings for the year, he only gave up 5.
High fly ball on the right side of the infield for John Mayberry. Just fair. John puts it away, and now you've got 2 out, with Chambliss still sitting out at second base.
They failed to advance him.
For the Yankees at this point, even though they're 1 run ahead, the omens are not good. They continue not to capitalize on scoring opportunities. That's the key point here. Because sooner or later, one can expect Kansas City to explode.
Oscar Gamble, 250 hitter in the championship series.
He hasn't hit well off left-handers either, Keith.
He's looked at a call third strike and grounded out second to first. Tonight he's 0 for 2, strike 1. Hips it foul. Hassler taking his time, coming down off the rubber, going to rub the ball. Shake off the trimmers that might grip him. I tell you, you got to be pumped up under these circumstances. You got to be high.
You have to look at his feet, how he's standing, how he's going after it. What's he thinking? Tough situation for the big guy. He's got him running and hiding right now, Keith.
Count is 1-1 on Oscar Gamble. And again, they play Oscar to pull, or that is, the center fielder goes into right center with him.
Again, let's make note, if they get out of this inning, they're going to be psychologically up.
Jims him inside, 2-1.
A situation where the Yankees fail to advance that leadoff double over to third base. And when you're out there on the field, you know what these things mean. Get that runner over to third in the scoring position. If they don't do it, it's a success for the defensive ball club.
Chambliss off second. Hassler pitches. Gamble hits it foul down the left field line in the crowd. And Christopher will go back to second base. Mark Littell is the man right now in the Kansas City bullpen. Young pitcher that can really throw the baseball hard, or if you like, swiftly.
Railway Express, Wells Fargo, right now, instant coffee.
2-2 to Gamble. Hassler off. Wind whipping around, swirling the papers, swirling the dust. It's been gusty all day in New York City. Sort of a sign that winter's coming. Pitch inside. It's full, 3-2.
You see right there, it missed his target. Buck Martinez was sitting outside. Oscar Gamble moved back off the plate from an inside fastball.
3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Royals. 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Yankees. Yankees advance in the bottom of the 5th inning. Three-two pitch to Gamble. Check swing, roller, let it go. It'll be foul, and Hassler scoops it up the moment it goes outside the chalk line.
He's tough. He keeps you off balance, as I said before, and you haven't really seen Oscar Gamble or any of the left-handed hitters have a real good full cut, a good swing off of this guy.
Chambliss, double.
He's annoying. He's uncomfortable. And Chambliss hit the first pitch for a double.
You know what? As big as he is, and as strong as he is, and as athletic he is, his wife, Deborah, can drum him on the golf course. She is a good player.
Yes, from Arizona.
Yes.
Right. A pretty blonde.
Full count to Gamble, and Oscar again comes back away. Late umpire Art Plant's calling time. Chris Chambliss at second base, 2 out. Pitcher in the hitter, squared off here, and Hessler steps off. Playing games. In the series, the Yankees have not hit the Royals 52-34.
But the Royals have scored more runs, and it's still 2 games apiece.
3-2 pitch. Low, ball 4. So it's a walk for Oscar Gamble. Now you've got 2 on with 2 out as Oscar goes to first. Elston Howard there, and over at second, it's Chris Chambliss. And he probably wishes he had a jacket by now. There's some conversation.
Now you got Willie Randolph up, Keith. On the series, he's only 2 for 14. But I remind you that during the season, this kid rarely killed a rally. Now, it's a clutch moment.
And Hessler comes high for ball 1. And here comes Galen Cisco out of the dugout going to the mound.
Go out and talk to him right now. Tell him to settle down a little bit, big guy. You got good stuff. Throw the ball over the plate. Give yourself a chance. You got no chance if you walk guys and give them free passes and put them on base. Make them hit the ball. Don't lose. Make them beat you. Make them hit the ball.
But make them hit them at somebody.
Try to. Give your team a chance to help you.
Littell remains active in the Kansas City bullpen. A ball 1 count on Willie Randolph with Chambliss at second, Gamble at first. And Hessler is outside the pitch. The temperature now in the low 50s. May get to the 40s before the game is done. Foul. 1 and looked like he reached back and then snapped. Ball just broke enough. And Willie Randolph had full stride going on the pitch, as if he really wanted to pull the trigger on it. Must have been a slider because it was just enough to make him miss.
No great cause for alarm when Hessler gets behind. That's been his characteristic. A little bit wild, but with good stuff. Now he can come back and make 3 or 4 good pitches.
Well, it's now 3-1. So he's 1 pitch away from loading the bases, and Whitey Herzog is suffering.
You think his mind isn't going 100 miles an hour right now?
He doesn't want to spend Littell this early either, I don't think. That's high, ball 4. Now the bases are loaded with 2 out.
Well, let him pitch to him, I'm sure.
Red Stanley is the man.
Second straight inning, the Yankees have had the bases loaded. Last inning, Munson ended it. Hitting at the first pitch. Flying out.
And there have been 2 outs each time the bases have been loaded in this situation, Howard. So it takes a base hit, and they break the ball game open right now. We're not going to see another left-handed pitcher right now. We're going to leave Hessler in there.
Strike called as he throws the fastball to Stanley.
They've got left-handed hitters coming up again. Mickey Rivers, and of course it doesn't make any difference if you make a change because behind him you got Roy White. There's only 1 more left-handed pitcher out there in the bullpen for the Royals, and that's Steve Mingora. Then they need him later on in the ball game.
Strike 2 to Fred Stanley. So Hessler now, having trouble with his control, throws 2 bullets to Fred Stanley and gets him 0-2 with the bases full and 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
He can be wild, and again, he can come back and make some perfect pitches on you. He's got great stuff. Now let me see it.
A 2-strike pitch. High. There are your Yankees on base. Chris Chambliss is at third base. Oscar Gamble's up at second base, and Willie Randolph's at first. One and 2. With 2 out. Hassler pitching to Fred Stanley. High. Ball 2. Again from right field, from the corner. 2-2 hit from the right side. Line drive at Rojas, and Cookie grabs it to end the inning. So the Yankees leave the bases loaded, leading the ball game 4-3. We'll be back with more after this word from our local station. We're back at Yankee Stadium as we move to the top of the 6th inning. The score is 4-3. New York leads Kansas City. Keith Jackson along with Howard Cosell and Reggie Jackson. There's the line total in the ball game so far, the line score. You can see the Yankees about hit Kansas City, but the Royals still within reach. And here is young Tom Poquette to lead off.
Point to be made is that the Yankees have 7 hits, 4 bases on balls. They have left 8 men on base. This game, certainly up to this point, with the Yanks still ahead, resembles the pattern of Sunday night's game.
Poquette looks at the pitch from Ed Figueroa. Low ball 1. George Brett is on deck, and then will be the cleanup hitter, John Mayberry.
This guy's used to leading off innings, hitting .337 leading off innings. Keith, I'm sorry for walking on you.
Right. 1-1. Boy, wind is cold. You know that? Winters are coming to New York. Howard, you better get a heavier coat. Taps it over the mound. Over for it is Randolph. Throws him out. 1 gone. So Willie makes the defensive play, and now here's Kansas City third baseman George Brett. He has doubled and hit a fly ball to center field. He has scored 1 run in this game tonight, the final game of the American League Championship Series. The winner here tonight goes on to play Cincinnati in the World Series in Cincinnati on Saturday.
Big red machine.
Figueroa's fastball is high.
George Brett said he doesn't look to hit home runs sometimes, but in a situation like this, they're 1 run down, and he hits Figueroa so well, just maybe.
Goes away from him. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Grant Jackson is in the Yankee bullpen, and Mark Littell in the Kansas City bullpen.
An ideal situation. The count is 2-0. And there you see Thurman telling them to keep the ball down. Keep the ball down.
All 3, Ed Figueroa Sunday night in the 2nd game traveled 5 1/3 innings. And right now that's where he is, 5 1/3.
Will he be swinging 3-0, Keith?
Nope.
You got to tell me before he throws. That's no fair.
3-1.
He just wants to get on to give Mayberry a shot and hope for a pitching mistake by Figueroa, as occurred in the 1st inning.
Get up, right center. Rivers on the move. Mickey's got it. Covers a lot of ground out there.
He does. Great speed. Great speed. Ball hit well. George Brett doesn't hit too many easy balls. He hits them all on the nose.
Mickey with 3 for 3 leads off next inning for the bottom half of this inning for the Yankees. Having a brilliant night, Rivers.
John Mayberry, 2-run homer in the 1st inning.
Here's the big guy.
And
the
Munson
game breaker.
and Reggie Munson's going out to talk to Figueroa. Very simple. A reminder. There's one way to pitch Mayberry. Don't give him the inside half of the plate. Shift takes effect. Keep the ball away. Preferably, of course, low.
All right, now you look at it defensively. You can see out there in the top left of your picture, that's Roy White, the left fielder. He's almost straight away and left, but there's about 4 acres between him and Mickey Rivers. And then you come over to the right fielder, who's straight away and right. The infield, the shortstop is on the second base side of second base. The third baseman, Nettles, is up at the normal shortstop position, and Figueroa is high on the first pitch to Mayberry. It's ball 1. That one is also
High again, Keith.
Here's a situation here. He's got to be careful with Mayberry. It's 4-3, and the right field porch is right on his left shoulder, really. Just a little blooper can get over the right field wall here. And you see Big John gritting his teeth and grinding it out. He can't be swinging for a little blooper or going to left field. He's got to go for the marble.
And he got low there. And John's
got to do it.
Was hoist. We have just had another balloon removed.
I was talking to Charlie Lau about how far John appears to be standing away, and Charlie said, well, last year he hit a ton, stepping forcefully into the pitch, and there's a shot. Going toward the corner, it is off the wall. Good play by Gamble as he holds into a single. He hit it so hard that all Oscar had to do was turn around and play the ricochet.
Well, you see the expression of Mayberry. Nice play by Oscar Gamble off the wall, and an outstanding throw. This ball's hit so hard. Fastball inside. Hit it hard enough to be a home run, but he didn't get it up enough. Off the 310 sign, and a good play by Oscar, holding Big John to a single.
Well, you know how bright, how astute Billy Martin is. He took cognizance of that. Figueroa couldn't pitch Mayberry the way he was supposed to.
Al McRae, a little tap out in front of the plate. Figueroa up, throws, gets him. So Al McRae, an excuse me swing, taps back to the pitcher. And so we've gone through 5 1/2, and the Yankees still lead the Royals 4-3.
Well, we've got Mickey Rivers coming up. Now, Reggie, I talked about the owner, George Steinbrenner, earlier, talking with Mickey Rivers last night. Let me tell you something about Steinbrenner. He's brought a lot of color, a lot of flamboyancy. His aim isn't to tell Rivers how to play. It's to motivate the man, and I think he's succeeded.
Whatever he did, he's 3 for 3 in the ball game. He scored 2 times, and he punched it out in front.
No, forget it.
No contest.
Mickey Rivers right there did not make a good bunt. He got the ball down, right out in front of the catcher, right out in front of the pitcher, but he's so fast. A running start. One of the fastest men in baseball.
They don't ask how.
Beware, Big Red Machine. The man can fly.
That equals, incidentally, an American League championship, in fact, a championship series records for most hits in a single game.
You think I made Pete Rose and Joe Morgan right now?
Yeah.
Get up out of their chair?
I guess the record is 5, so Rivers now, with 4 in a row, is 1 away from the record.
Meanwhile, he's had 8 hits in the series. And 22 at-bats, and we've got a ball 1 count. And here's where all the things Reggie has talked about in terms of what Mickey Rivers does to unsettle the opposition, all those things now come into play, into focus.
Roy White, the hitter for New York. White and Rivers have scored all of New York's runs. Bunch the ball. Good bunt. Mayberry on the play. Rojas covers it first. They get Roy White. Mickey Rivers is at second base on the sacrifice.
Roy remains 1 for 1 on the day. Single in the first, 2 bases on balls, and now the sacrifice.
1 out.
Billy Martin has had enough. He wants a run, and he wants it now.
Well, he's played good baseball right there. He advanced the runner, Roy White, doing a job. And now they've got to contend with the big guy, Thurman Munson. They'll probably pitch around him or pitch to him tough. They may even go on and give him intentional pass and make Chris Chambliss drive the run in instead of Munson.
Well, Galen Cisco has come to the mound to talk with Andy Hassler and Buck Martinez, and they're making their decision right now, and you can see that Andy is in full agreement with whatever the coach is saying. Mark Littell and Steve Mingori. Mingori is the left-hander. Baby daughter born to the Mingoris yesterday. Steve saw a picture of her first time today. And there's the country boy, Littell, number 17. Thurman Munson at the plate. You've got 1 out. Rivers at second.
I don't think I've ever seen a manager get more out of his roster than Whitey Herzog has gotten out of his in this series, Reggie. He's been a brilliant manager.
Done a great job overcoming the injuries. I don't think they're going to pitch to Munson. They're going to pitch around him. If he hits, he's going to have to hit a bad pitch. They pitched to him. They're crazy.
Well, they just zipped a fastball over the inside corner for a strike. 91 miles an hour on that pitch.
He's not making that $150,000 for nothing.
Is that what Thurman's making?
If he ain't, he's spitting on it.
You're with it, man.
Rivers off second base. Hits it to right. Base hit. There comes your insurance run around third base. Munson digging for second. He's out. Thurman Munson trying to go to second. He is thrown out by Hal McRae, but Mickey Rivers scored from second base, and the Yankees lead it 5-3.
I say to yourself, why watching this TV game, sitting at home, why did Thurman Munson go after that? Why did he try to stretch it into a double? There you see him going with the pitch, as he's done so well all year long. He's done the last couple of years, driving in 105 runs. If he's on second base with one out, they don't have to waste time or waste another out getting him over to second base. It's a good play to try to get over to second base right there, and it takes a perfect play, a perfect throw to get him.
Thurman
Nice
came back to the
hustle,
dugout,
Thurman.
though, and he said, who said McRae couldn't throw out of that right field corner? He shot him down.
All right, Keith. Thurman
Howard
Munson
said it.
has just connected his 10th hit of the series.
Howard said he couldn't throw.
Now, you were right. They were crazy to pitch to him. Look at Mickey go.
Got the go sign from Dick Hauser, never looked, just checked his coach and came on in. 2 out now. The bases are empty for Chris Chambliss as the Yankees build the lead to 5-3 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Andy Hassler being pummeled a little bit by the Yankees here.
Munson 10 out of 22 on the series, a new record in total hits in a championship series.
Sorry about that, Pete Rose. Aye.
Petey doesn't mind. He just wants to win.
He's throwing things around his house right now.
No, he's in Johnny Bench's restaurant.
Better not be throwing around the house. Carroll will get after him. There's a strike. 2-1 to Chambliss. Up the middle. A little bleeder into center field for Chambliss. And so now the Yankees are really jumping on Hassler.
And he's got 10 base hits.
That's right. And he continues to chew up left-handers.
That guy a pirate?
Now with Chambliss on first base. No
Reggie,
movement in the Kansas City dugout, though Herzog and Cisco have talked again, and Whitey's pacing.
Reggie Chambliss is 10 out of 20. 500 on the series.
That's what you call scalding the ball.
And 7 RBIs on the series.
Now, who's the most valuable? Now, that's why there's some question on this ball club as to who is the most valuable player. Both of these fellas, Thurman Munson, along with Chris Chambliss, along with Mickey Rivers,
That's right.
have exemplified or showed you the reasons why they are being considered all in the running for the most valuable player award. Who do you give it to?
Carlos May takes high. Ball 1 from
They've
Hassler.
all been outstanding.
Whom do you give it to?
I don't want to get in it.
He raised the question.
Fouled away. It's 1-1 on Carlos May. Yankees leading 5-3 in the ball game and hitting in the bottom of the 6th inning.
For a little more undecidedness, Howard, let's throw in Greg Nettles with 32 home runs.
1-1 pitch. There goes Chambliss. Swung on and missed. Throw to second base. Safe. Look at the big man move it. He didn't have a particularly big lead. He just simply took off and made it.
Good slide. Fadeaway slide.
Now with 2 outs, Chambliss out at second. The base hit that's scoring. Carlos May up there as you see the replay looking in from center field. And it's 1-2 on the batter, May. Little tap. George Brett charging at third base. Throws in the dirt. Hey, Barrett can't handle it. Here comes Chambliss to the plate. Yankees
That's a big run. That's the biggest run of the ball game right there. It gives them a 3-run lead.
Right.
And it now takes 4 runs for them to get beat.
So
that's the biggest run in the ball game.
That's right. Suddenly the Yankees have totally capitalized. Billy Martin and his people using the running game that served them so well. Let's take another look. Little tapper by Lee May. Carlos May, forgive me. I was suddenly with Reggie Jackson's club. And John couldn't hold on to the ball. Thrown into the dirt.
Error on the third baseman. The third throwing error on George Brett in this series. Now it is a 6-3 ball game, and we've got time called as the umpires and the ground crew and everybody out there has to take a moment to help clean things up again. So George Brett charging that little tapper at third base, could not get the throw on the money. Mayberry, who is as skilled as anybody in digging them out, could not come up with that one cleanly. And Chris Chambliss running on the tap came in to score.
Tough play right there for George. He hurried himself a little bit. Didn't have to quite hurry that much because he had looked. It appeared as though he had plenty of time. Make an error like that, George knows what he's done. I believe it'll just make him a better hitter the next time he comes to the plate.
Well, the Royals are going to need a little hitting because they're now down by 3.
Howard, you know I'm not going to talk bad about my ball players.
You're making that apparent.
Hassler delivers to Greg Nettles with Carlos May on first base and 2 out, and he misses ball 1.
It runs through your mind. Make a mistake like that, you know you want to try to make up for it.
Carlos is called off the bases, and obviously we're going to get a runner. Sandy Alomar goes out to run for Carlos May.
Using his entire roster tonight. Wondered where some of them were, but now he's coming through and starting to show you where they are, I guess.
That probably means we'll see Lou Piniella going up as a designated hitter. Get an idea what the top of the Yankee batting order has done tonight. 16 appearances for them. They've been on base 13 times. Rivers on base 4 times. White on base 3 out of 4 times. Munson on base 3 out of 4 times. And Chambliss on base 3 out of 4 times. So the top of the order has really done something.
Well, I have to be careful right now with Greg Nettles, because if Greg can unload one right now, then it'll be hallelujah. See you at the pass. Meet you in Cincinnati.
Andy Hassler still out there.
Thurman Munson said to me tonight, regardless of the outcome, I live in Canton, so I'm going to Cincinnati no matter what happens.
Those 4 men, Keith, that you just named, by the way, have 10 hits tonight.
Here goes Alomar. Throw! Got him! Inning is over, but it is a big inning for the Yankees as they score 2 and now enjoy a 3-run cushion after 6 innings of play. The Yankees 6 and the Royals 3.
Manager Sparky Anderson, whom do you want to face?
I don't care which one we play. I think they're both outstanding ball clubs. But to be in the World Series, I wouldn't mind if we played the Nankai Hawks over in Japan.
You're looking at Jamie Quirk, the designated hitter for Kansas City, to lead off the top of the 7th inning. Then Cookie Rojas, Red Patek, Buck Martinez would be the 4th hitter. Jamie Quirk in the ball game. Fly ball to left. Grounded out to short. He's 0 for 2. The Yankees lead 6-3 Kansas City. Now get down to Casey. They better come up with some offense against Ed Figueroa if they have any hopes at all. The Yankee bullpen is now very active with Grant Jackson and Dick Tidrow throwing.
Martin won't waste a moment. The slightest sign of faltering. Out will come Figueroa.
2-1, strike call.
I think we got to give Billy Martin a little bit of credit. He certainly has gotten stuck with Figueroa. He stuck to his guns all along, and up to this point,
Gotta give
looking pretty good.
Got to give him a lot of credit.
It's 3-1 as Ed's high.
Talk about the fiery, feisty Billy Martin. He's shown me a lot of class the last couple of days.
Hard shot. Chambliss fields it at first base. Chris Chambliss leaving his feet. Pulls it down. Watch the quickness of the big guy at first.
No chance for indecision. Bang, bang. Stick your glove up and hope it's there. And hope it doesn't rip your head off.
Looked into his glove to make sure. How to believe it. See it to believe it.
Otherwise, it could have been 2 for Burke. Cookie Rojas takes her. Strike 1.
Figueroa's moving along quite easy right now, setting a nice pattern. He's got everything going for him.
2. There's the Yankee bullpen. Right-hander Tidrow, left-hander Jackson.
Got the momentum going. Got the crowd on his side. Just scored a couple of runs. Sailing along. Who can wreck the ship?
Popped up. Back of the plate. Munson coming. Can't make the play. Slides up against the backstop. Be careful, Herman. They might need you in Cincinnati.
Are you giving it to them, Keith?
I said
Are you
might.
giving it to
I
them,
said
Keith?
might. Might. Always slip in that little qualifying adjective.
Telegrams from Kansas City.
You, though, however, would certainly hate to see a premier performer like that get injured at this juncture of the season, wouldn't you?
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. 2 strikes now on Cookie Rojas. Low. 1-2.
Settle into a nice pattern. Eddie Figueroa keeping the ball away, moving the ball around the strike zone. In when he has to, away when he has to.
Just outside.
Knows he can give it all he's got right now. He's gotten him to the 7th inning, and he's got relief in the bullpen.
Now we've got a 2-2 count on Cookie. He is really something special, this fella. 37 years of age, 15 years in the big leagues. Hits the ball on the ground to the shortstop, Stanley. Fred has it. Goes him out. 2 down, and Saturday afternoon at 3:30 over most of these ABC stations, NCAA college football. It'll be Alabama and Tennessee from Knoxville at 3:30 p.m., and that is one of the wars during the football season down south.
You talk about giving a manager credit, and about Billy Martin, Reggie. He's the kind of guy, as I've said, who'll take the blows and do it his way.
2 down now, and Freddie Patek hits it foul off the right side.
He met with his coaches. He knew everybody was saying, big ballpark, look at the competitive record in championship games. Pitch Ken Holzman, and this game is far from over. But that fellow right there, in discussions with his coaches, they said, Figueroa, he's won 19 for us. Billy went with him. And if he gets knocked out now, he has done his part of the bargain. Figueroa has produced. So Martin has proved out.
He has yielded 2 singles in the last 16 batters for Kansas City. 1-1 count to the Royals shortstop. Now 1-2. But it takes a strike.
Matter of fact, Reggie, he looks sharper now against the right-handed batters than he's looked all game.
He looks sharp right now. He's got his adrenaline flowing, and you can sense it in Yankee Stadium right now. The crowd getting a little anxious, and the people in New York, of course, anticipating all the time.
Hard shot, third base. Nettles knocks it down. Stanley picks it up and throws. Got it! How about that? Close play. Did they get it? No, didn't.
I was fooled by the call of the umpire too. He called safe with his fist.
Yeah, when you double up the fist, Bill, that means you're out. Have a look at it.
It's a great comeback by Freddie Stanley. Right over there where he should be. Gets off a great throw, but this man can run. And there you see, it looks like he's giving the outside.
He did, didn't it? It'll be a base hit. Sharply hit by Freddie Patek. So this scrappy little guy, he's just absolutely been marvelous for the Kansas City Royals. He is the leader. He's the guy that takes them and shakes them and moves them around. Patek off, he might go. Pitches inside. Given just a little bit of room as Buck Martinez is up there and 2 for 2 in this ball game.
All these at-bats right now are what you can call throwaways. No deposit, no return. Said it before and I'll say it again. There's no tomorrow. Cash in your coupons, boys.
High to Martinez, and Figueroa asks for another baseball. It's 2 balls and no strikes with Freddie Patek on first base. Waiting in the on-deck circle, Al Cowens. There's Patek. Remind you again that Tidrow is heating in the bullpen, and so is Grant Jackson.
The crowd here is getting a little anxious. A little anticipation. Don't count the Royals down. They've proved before that their men and pros can be pros. Ball players don't give up. They never give up.
3 balls and no strikes now to Buck Martinez.
That's why they tell you when you've got another team down, just try to bury them. Keep going.
There's a strike.
Don't let up. Not in the bigs.
There's Tidrow, the right-hander. Jackson, the left-hander. Patek edging off first. By 2 balls. Crowd is chanting, in case you find the rumble in the background. They're chanting Eddie, Eddie.
Got to go after it. Buck is trying to take food off of your table, Ed.
There goes Patek. Ball hit to left field. Roy White has a play. Inning is over. Kansas City, no runs on 1 hit. They leave 1 after 6½. It's 6-3 Yankees. Crowd looks like they're almost prepared for snow, or it might be a football crowd, but it's not. It's the final game of the American League Championship Series. The winner of the game tonight goes on against Cincinnati in the World Series, and the Yankees now are leading by a score of 6-3 going into the bottom of the 7th inning. And the line score you see: New York 6 runs on 10 hits and an error. Kansas City 3 runs, 7 hits and an error. And Kansas City scored twice in the first inning, once in the second. New York getting 2 in the first, 2 in the third, and 2 in the sixth. And here is Greg Nettles to lead off for the Yankees, to be followed by Oscar Gamble, and then we'll get Willie Randolph. And Andy Hassler is still the man. He is the 4th Kansas City pitcher. And the first one to Nettles is inside, ball 1.
I'm sure the old American League home run champ here just like to dial 8 like they do in a hotel for long distance. Just one more time for good measure.
Outside, ball 2. Nettles is the only Yankee not to reach first base tonight.
He's trying to reach the seats.
I suspect you might be right.
Trying to go long distance. Anywhere, station to station, not person to person.
3 balls and no strikes now, as our director, Chet Forty, stayed close to give you a look at Greg Nettles' face as he took ball 3. Now Hassler comes with ball 4. Ball gets away from Buck Martinez. Nettles hustles to first, turns, but Buck holds him. Littell now is active again in that Kansas City bullpen. Now reached the point where they can call on him. And probably will if Andy Hassler gets in any kind of trouble here.
Especially right now, since he's got 2 right-handed hitters coming up next. the Yankees have already used Carlos, man. Of course, Oscar Gamble, he can get out of the way now. So if he loses Oscar Gamble, I'm sure we'll see Littell to face Randolph and Stanley.
But Martinez to throw and gets Gamble on the sacrifice as they move Nettles to second. Now with one out, have the man in scoring position for Willie Randolph.
And here comes Littell. As expected. 5.5 innings of this ball game. It was a squeaker. The Yankees 4, the Royals 3. The Yankees leaving a ton of men on base, relatively speaking, and the game bore similar proportions to last Sunday night's game. But it didn't turn out that way, or at least it hasn't up to this point, because suddenly the Yankees erupted for 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, and now Martin seeks more insurance using a good sacrifice bunt by Oscar Gamble.
Andy Hassler leaves, sits down in the dugout, and Mark Littell is coming in. Hard-throwing right-hander who did not allow an earned run in 46 of his 59 relief appearances in 1976 for the Kansas City Royals.
Reds, did you bat against Littell?
Yes, I faced him a couple times during this season, Howard. He's a hard thrower. He comes right at you. Fastball, slider. Has a changeup, but he doesn't throw it very much.
So we've got a timeout here at Yankee Stadium as we get the new pitcher, Mark Littell, and we'll be right back with more.
All right, George Foster, whom do you want to face in the series?
Well, I'd rather play the New York Yankees more so than playing the Kansas City Royals, mainly because financially I think we'd be in a better position by playing the New York Yankees. And also there are a lot of memories in that ballpark of players like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, who have played there.
So Mark Littell, the hard-throwing right-hander, comes on now. He is the 5th Kansas City pitcher in the ball game. He relieves Andy Hassler. Hassler responsible for Nettles, who's leading off second base. Willie Randolph, the batter, with 1 out. Yankees leading 6-3 and trying to get more here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Littell's fastball is inside.
Reggie, you said you only hit against Littell a couple of times. Let's show the memory of a hitter. What did you do against him?
Well, the first time up, I hit a ground ball to second base, and the next time up, I lined out to the first baseman, Mayberry. The first pitch, I hit a fastball. The second one was a slider.
Tap toward short. Patek throws and gets Randolph as Nettles goes to third with 2 out.
His job, he comes in there. You see Greg Nettles getting a little whisper from Dick Hauser. He comes into the game, Mark Littell does, knowing that he cannot afford to give up another run. If he does, the psychological advantage could get completely out of hand for the Kansas City Royals right now. So he's got a job to do, Mark Littell does, for his ball club. And there's Fred Stanley.
Nettles off third. Stanley the batter. Littell with 2 out. And Gorey is in the Kansas City pen right now, staying warm. And the pitch just inside, ball 1. There's the left-hander, Mingori, Steve Mingori. Casey's called on. You know that Whitey Herzog now is going to use everybody he thinks that might have a chance to produce some runs. Kansas City needs 3 to tie. Ball is hit to the right side, and McRae, coming in a hurry, makes the catch on the run. So Hal makes the catch in right field. The Yankees threaten but don't score. After 7, it's 6-3 Yankees, and we'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. As we look down on Yankee Stadium from our picture aboard the ABC helicopter, here's the story of the ball game as Kansas City comes up in the top of the 8th inning. Yankees 6 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. Kansas City 3 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. Ed Figueroa, the starter, he's gone all the way, and he now will face the top of the order for Kansas City. Al Cowens, Tom Poquette, and George Brett. Cowens, Coquette must start getting on base. Kansas City's to have a chance in this ball game. And the first pitch from Figueroa to Cowens is high and tight.
Well, you can see Cowens hasn't done a heck of a lot since he got that hit. I guess you could say a day or so ago, but he's got to get something going to get Kansas City back in this ball game.
Foul on the screen.
Need a base runner. Figueroa says no. Little change of baseball. You know, the other day I mentioned why sometimes they change baseballs. Sometimes the ball might be a little bit bigger than the other. It might not feel right to the pitcher. Consequently, he's got the option to change baseballs. Sometimes you might find one that doesn't have the stitches up or down or close.
Hard shot, left field, base hit for Cowens. And Roy White gets it back in a hurry. And now
there it is.
Steve Burroughs, the first base coach. Well, Kansas City has somebody to work with, and Billy Martin is on the way to the mound, and you might very well, in fact, you're going to get a pitching change right here. Jackson and Tidrow are out of the bullpen, both heated up, and apparently Billy wants the left-hander Jackson.
Well, as I said earlier, he's done his job, Figueroa. Crowd stands, gives Figueroa some ovation. When they were screaming Eddie, Eddie, Eddie before in unison, the origin of that cry relates to a former New York Ranger goalie, Eddie Jacquemin, whom the fans at Madison Square Garden loved. The Rangers traded him away to Detroit. When Eddie came back, the arena resounded all night with the cry of Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. They've transplanted it here to Eddie Figueroa.
And so Grant Jackson is now on his way in to relieve Eddie Figueroa here in the top of the 8th inning, and we'll be back. Billy Martin returns to the dugout now, having put Grant Jackson, veteran left-hander, into the ball game in relief of Eddie Figueroa. Figueroa traveling 7 complete innings. Jackson on the season 7-1. He'll be facing a pinch hitter for Kansas City, Jim Wolford, summoned. He will hit for Coquette. He's a right-handed batter, and he's 1 for 1 in the only appearance against Grant Jackson this year. Wolford, a .249 hitter. Moon looking like a piece of green cheese out there tonight.
Keith, you play Wolford straight away. He goes with the pitch most of the time. You don't like to give him the right field line because he's good hitting down there. He's always ready and looking for the fastball, especially with 2 strikes. The book on him is to throw sliders just off the plate and down.
Al Cowens led off for Kansas City, number 18, standing right there. Number 14 is Steve Burroughs, the first base coach for Kansas City. Chuck Hiller is waiting over at third, wanting a little piece of the action himself, the third base coach.
It's a situation where you have some scouting reports. They say the book on him is to throw him sliders down and in. Grant Jackson's a power pitcher and doesn't have a real good slider. He's got a 3-run lead to work with, and I'm sure he'll go right after Jimmy Wolford, especially since he's got that great big left field, I guess you can call it Yellowstone Park, working for him here.
I think you're right.
Throws it on the inside corner and gets a call strike.
Not fancy. He just charges.
Cowens off first. That one's high. It's 1-1. On deck, George Brett. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Billy Martin going for Grant Jackson because he knows the power men coming up for Kansas City are from the left side. Obviously, he wants Jackson to work against Brett and Mayberry. Pickering, Jackson is at least the equal of Wolford. Wolford fouls it back 1-2.
Last 2 pitches are according to the book, Reg. Tailing away to the outside and down.
One fastball away, and the other one was a ball that was down. It was a breaking ball, kind of out of characteristic for Grant. But you never know in situations.
There's the story on Grant Jackson's career versus the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have been in existence only 8 seasons. Here they are fighting with the Yankees for the American League pennant. That pitch is just high, 2-2.
It's the Royals' dream to duplicate the miracle of the Mets, who in their 8th year won everything in 1969 as they astonished everybody by beating the Birds of Baltimore in the World Series in 5 games.
Just low. Now it is 3-2.
There'll be no tricks now. He's missed with 2 sliders. He missed with a fastball. He tried to go down with it. It's fastball all the way right now. Power against power. Here we go.
Ball, a little bleeder hit out into short center field. Rivers coming, no play. Whoa, Cowens delayed on it. They almost came up with a play at second base.
Rivers might have had a chance with it, Keith.
So now you have nobody out, and you have the tying run coming to plate. Now watch Cowens. He had to hold up because of Mickey Rivers' speed out there in center. And then he realized that Rivers couldn't get to it. And if they had really gone quickly for the throw, they might have had a play at second base. But they did not. That's the important thing. And now George Brett, the American League batting champion, is at the plate representing the tying run in the ball game. At second base, Al Cowens. At first base, Jim Wolford. Now here is George Brett.
Talked to George yesterday, and he said he doesn't try to go for home runs unless the situation warrants it. He represents a tying run.
Grant Jackson's fastball is high and tight.
There's no quitting this team, and George Brett, the best hitter in the American League, has hit .362 with men on base throughout the year 1976. You couldn't have a better man up.
High drive, hit to right field.
Home run.
It's gone.
There it is.
The ball game is tied.
Certain situations, like he said, he doesn't like to look for pitches because it takes away from his greatest asset of just hitting the ball hard in particular spots. But there he is. I said it earlier, he made an error. What did I say? I'm no gospel, but I think I know athletes. It'll make him a better hitter when it comes back to the plate. Take a look at the little short porch over there. George Brett. You might not be a scientific hitter, George, but you can do it.
And obviously he gets a roaring welcome into the Royals dugout.
And you can hear the quiet of this crowd.
Big John Mayberry.
Here's Mayberry now. Jackson throws it over his head. They're all even in runs and all even in hits and even in errors in this ball game.
Atmosphere changes.
How
Got
quickly.
quiet all of a sudden, didn't it? On the corner.
Make note that we're all standing up right now.
Note this, there's no excitement in George Brett's face.
He's concentrating, Howard.
Now there's a little
bit.
joy.
He feels a great deal of jubilation. He knows that he made a bad play the last time, uncharacteristic of him. Billy Martin got lots and lots of things on his mind. Uncharacteristic of George Brett. He's made a couple errors in this series, but he's come back like a true pro, like a champion has.
Mayberry pops it up. It'll be out of play as Munson lets it go. He has a look. That is the second home run of the ball game for Kansas City. Mayberry had a 2-run shot in the first inning, and Brett a 3-run shot here in the top of the 8th inning to get the Royals even at 6.
Not one-sided, Howard. I'm just telling it like it is.
That's the way to go, Reggie.
Inside to Mayberry. It's 2-2 to John.
Martin played every percentage. He came in with a left-hander. George Brett can hit anybody.
Foul.
You got to get that one down. Got to get that one down because the next run just might be worth $20,000 to the team that gets it.
In Kansas City, there is jubilation right now, and why not? What a bunch of young ball players.
Pull to the right side and over to make the play. In the exaggerated defensive shift against Mayberry, Randolph throws him out. Now you've got one away. Kansas City with 2 home runs tonight indicates they're coming out perhaps of the slump that has plagued them. They had hit only 3 home runs in their previous 37 games, including the championship series, and they've gone bang bang tonight. And here's Hal McRae playing right field. Outside from Grant Jackson.
Well, we'll see the resiliency of Grant Jackson. We'll see the resiliency of the Yankees.
Two balls and no strikes to Hal McRae with 1 out, and the bases are clean thanks to a 3-run home run by George Brett. 3 balls and no strikes.
Stage is getting to be set for somebody to be a hero.
Billy Martin on the steps of the dugout.
Sparky Lyle and Dick Tittrow are active in the Yankee bullpen. Ball is hit to left. Roy White drifts back and makes the catch.
Make note that he let him swing away 3-0.
Right.
Something you don't normally do in a ballpark like this because it's not easy to reach the wall.
That is true, but as I've said before, there are many similarities between Herzog and Martin. In a sense, they've grown up in the same baseball way, and they play that kind of venturesome baseball.
Both drive the same car. They both had on cashmere sweaters today.
Did they?
Yeah. Similarities.
Jamie Quirk at the plate. Strike call. The designated hitter. Swing and a miss as Jamie went for that fastball and did get it.
Trying to dilate. Long distance.
Yep. Tripled yesterday. Inside.
Ball and 2 strikes, just a waste pitch right there, and I'm sure he'll try to keep the ball away from Jamie because, again, of that ever-presence of the right field fence. Ooh, would Cincinnati like to look at that?
Struck him out. Well, it was a big, big inning for the Kansas City Royals. A 3-run home run by George Brett. And after 7.5, we're all even at 6-6. There it is, Kansas City, 6, 10 runs, an error. New York, 6, 10 runs, an error. And we go down to the bottom of the 8th inning for the New York Yankees. Incidentally, Ed Figueroa charged with 4 of those 6 Kansas City runs. And now for the Yankees. It is the top of the order, which has been particularly troublesome. Mickey Rivers, a triple, and 3 singles. He has scored 3 times. He'll be followed by Roy White, and then Thurman Munson. And Art Littell out on the mound for Kansas City.
Mickey Rivers, we've said it before, the catalyst of the offense. 4 hits already. He's supplied half of the runs, half of the offense. Got a chance for 5 hits.
And Littell, fastball, misses, ball 1.
Last guy to get 5 hits, teammate of mine, Paul Blair, against the Minnesota Twins in 1969. 5-5.
Ball 2.
Under any circumstances, we come to a tie situation in the 8th inning where Herzog has the very man in there that he would most want. A power pitcher, big, strong, and unafraid. Martin has done everything right. It didn't work for him.
Strike. 2-1.
Stayed with Figueroa, got the most out of him, came in with a southpaw pitcher who's been his best pitcher on the team during the fading weeks of the season. Put him against a left-handed hitter.
High fly ball hit to right center. McRae goes over, makes the catch.
George Brett is, I don't know what kind of hitter he is. He's just a good one. I don't know if he's left-handed or right-handed because he shows no signs of giving in to anybody.
Right. He has, I don't think he's had a bad out in the 5 games we've had up to this point.
Got a chance. He might have a future in this game.
Roy White,
great
now,
play.
Switch hitter for New York. With 1 out, bases empty. Game all even at 6-6.
Let's make note of the fact Roy White now a right-handed hitter. He becomes a .320 hitter. He's hit 12 of his 14 home runs left-handed. Right here in Yankee Stadium with the short porch, he becomes a threat.
He's 1 for 2 against Littell this season. Bill Haller, the right field umpire, going out to clean something off the field. A lot of debris floating around tonight. Again, getting a hold of some of the confetti. Here it is to White. Shot at Mayberry. Good play by John, and Roy White's out. Hit it hard.
Excellent play. Had a little trouble getting a handle on it, but he kept his body in front of it just in case he would have had a problem with it.
So very quickly, you've got 2 down for Thurman Munson. Watch this play as Mayberry gets in front of it, gets his man. Ooh. Hit right down the line.
Hot potato.
So quickly, Littell has 2 out. And you can still feel the sense of momentum of the Royals with that 3-run outburst in the 8th inning.
Thurman Munson. Single. 3 times tonight. Swings and misses.
Thurman wants to see the baseball. Sometimes I always wonder, the pitcher has the option to change the ball anytime he wants to. The batter can only look at it. If the umpire says it's out, it's out. If not, it's back to the pitcher. A little fairness in this game, huh?
Thurman Munson has delivered 2 runs, knocked across 2 tonight for New York. Kansas City riding home run power for John Mayberry and George Brett into a 6-6 tie. Whitey Herzog watching from the dugout. With 2 out, nobody on. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Goes right after you. Now I'm quite sure he'll try and make a pitch. No balls and 2 strikes. He doesn't want to give Thurman anything that'll cost him the American League pennant.
Just missed.
Yes. Yes, it did. He tried to make a pitch on it.
This kid tries to pitch low to everybody. Hard slider. Good fastball. Done some job. Great ratio of hits against innings pitched, Reggie.
You see him back off the mound before he can go to his mouth. You're not allowed to go to your mouth when you're in the dirt on the pitcher's mound.
Munson fouls it out of play. Straight back.
If you do, it's an automatic ball.
Very hard to hit home runs against Mark Littell.
Takes his time. Whole night. I can see why he wants to warm up the fingers a little.
There's sometimes when they'll let you blow on your hand on a cold night like this, but he's stepping off the mound because he's wetting his fingers, which you're not allowed to do.
1-2 pitch to Munson. Struck him out. So Littell does his thing here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And after 8 complete innings of play, we're stretching this one to the limit. Kansas City 6, New York 6. 6-6 tie as Kansas City will come to the plate in the top of the 9th inning. And on the mound for the New York Yankees, their 3rd pitcher, Dick Tidrow. Tidrow in 1976 started the season as a relief pitcher. Sparky was the primary left-hander and Dick the right-hander. In the second half of the season, Tidrow recorded 6 saves in his last 10 appearances, so he's pitched very effectively for the New York Yankees in the latter part of the season. Now, Reggie Jackson, you faced this big guy. Tell us about him.
Get my newspaper so I can read up on it. Big 6'4" guy, Dick Tidrow from California, from Hayward. Used to be a starter, was with Cleveland, got traded over here to the Yankees in one of the big trades. It brought Chris Chambliss over here.
What did you hit against this guy?
He's a power pitcher, Howard. Fastball and slider, occasional changeup, not too much. He'll turn the ball over. When I say turn the ball over, change the rotation on the ball, try to get a little bit more movement. But basically a power pitcher. He'll throw as hard as he can for as long as he can, and then wait for Sparky Lyle to come in.
How many times did you go to bat against him?
Oh, I've faced him quite a few times. He's been around ever since about 1971 and 1969. Had decent success with Dick. I hit a couple home runs off him early in my career, but now I'm running a little streak on him right now with about 4 or 5 strikeouts in a row.
Really? You have 281 career home runs. Do you remember every homer and every opposition pitcher?
Howard, I guess that's my bread and butter. As I say, home run hitters drive Cadillacs or whatever you want to say, or Pontiacs, but I remember every one of them, and I can tell you the pitcher and the pitch. Keith?
All right, Cookie Rojas to lead it off for Kansas City in the top of the 9th. Freddie Patek and Buck Martinez. And Cookie hits a hard one-bouncer to Fred Stanley, and he's out.
Got a situation right now where every hitter that comes to the plate, there's Fred Stanley after making a fine play. Every hitter that comes to the plate, at least this is the way it was when I played in the playoffs. You've got to produce now. You don't want to foul your pitch off. You want to try to get it, and when you do get it, you want to try to capitalize on it because you know there's no tomorrow. Say it again, but it has great deal of meaning.
Here's the little guy, Freddie Patek, Kansas City shortstop, and he looks it low, ball one.
162 games, then 4 more, then the final game. Down now to the 9th inning, and still all even.
On the corner, right one.
Get a shot at close up at their faces. They're concentrating all they can right now, pulling out every stop, reaching down as far as they possibly go. You'll see the best baseball they can produce right now.
Patek 2 for 3 against Tidrow this season. Swings and fouls this one off. Waiting on deck, Buck Martinez. Sparky Lyle and Doyle Alexander are throwing now in the New York bullpen. 1 out. Nobody on. There, Alexander, the right-hander, Lyle, the left-hander. Alexander to make his first appearance if he should get a call. We've not seen him in the series. Lyle has made 1 appearance. 1-2 to Patek. Foul.
And we need a new piece of lumber.
Broke the bat. Took that breaking pitch right in on the hands. A hard slider.
I remember Raleigh Fingers said one time, I wouldn't mind seeing them take all the marbles, put all the money out, just play 1 game opening day, and whoever wins, you're the champion. That's what we've got here tonight. We've got to have 1 inning and see who the champion is.
Could have a lot of fat ball players.
Could have a lot of innings here.
1-2 to Freddie Patek. Dick Tidrow, 3rd New York pitcher. And now Patek out, time call. Art French behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes. You come this far, go this long, get to this point in the decisive game, and the pressure is enormous on everybody. There's a real Yankee fan right there. 1-2. Fouled off, and Patek hangs in.
Munson is shaken up with that one. He's hurt.
Looked like it hit him just under the mask.
Adam's apple.
Oh, that really hurts.
The hazards of catching. Hit on the shoulder, hit on the hands. You take a look at any catcher's hands. His fingers, half of them have been broken. Bruises on his shins.
Let's look at it from the center field camera.
Yep, Adam's apple.
There's no real way to measure the velocity of a fastball thrown in there and then nipped by the bat. It just increases.
Ouch.
The velocity.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
At this stage of the game, if he had a broken hand, he'd see it through, knowing Thurman Munson as I do.
No question about it. The situation here, I had a guy I played with all year long, just would relish, Keith. Get in a situation, we went into Baltimore, went into Oakland one time, and I said to Lee May, I said, Lee, the grass is high here. Don't you worry about getting base hits. He said, Jack, where I'm trying to go, the grass don't grow. I said, well, why don't you hit the ball to right field sometime and try to get a base hit, bloop one in once in a while. He said, Jack, for the last 10 years, I've been making a pretty good living going over that way. He said, I'm not going to change now. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of the guys trying to hit one out now.
All right, but probably not Fred Patek. 1-2 to the little Kansas City shortstop with 1 out, nobody on. And it's outside. It's 2-2. The game now 3 hours and 1 minute along. Two-two to Patek. Spank toward the hole. Stanley over. Long throw.
Good play. Good play.
They're all good right now. They're all tough right now.
You know how easy it becomes to fumble one in situations like that one.
No question about it. There's dollar signs and championship rings and diamonds all around that ball every time it bounces now.
Stanley moved quickly to his right, scooped it up sure-handedly, made the long throw, never wavered for an instant. professional play.
2 out. Batter is Buck Martinez. And for our local stations, your break is coming right after this half inning. Here's the pitch, and Buck hits it into left center field. He has had some special night, hasn't he?
3 out of 4.
So he's on first base.
I think Buck would like to make a career of playing against the Yankees.
So Martinez is on first base, and we'll go back to the top of the order. Al Cowens, who fought his way on base in the 8th inning, was sitting there when Brett delivered the big home run.
Led off the 8th with a sharp single to left against Ed Figueroa. Eddie was removed. On came Grant Jackson, and then came disaster. A blue hit by Wolford, a 3-run home run by George Brett.
Potential go-ahead run at first base in Martinez as Al Cowens looks at the pitch from Tidrow, and it is low. The score is tied. Royals 6 and the Yankees 6. The Royals getting even on George Brett's 3-run home run in the top of the 8th inning. They're now at bat in the top of the 9th. The winner of this game is the American League champion. Cowens looks, it's low again.
2 balls and no strikes, and I would have to say that Al Cowens is due.
Well, he singled in the 8th.
Catch this, Howard. He's so due, he's wet.
I caught it.
Tidrow watching Martinez on first. Watch the signs again. Pitch misses. 3 balls and no strikes with 2 out. Buck Martinez at first, and Cowens ahead of the pitcher Tidrow, 3-0.
Yankee fans here edgy. The folks in Kansas City hope.
Strike call. 3-1.
There you see him taking a situation like that. Try to get that runner down in the scoring position. Take 1 extra pitch.
All 4. It is. So Buck Martinez goes to second base, Cowens to first base. And now it is Jim Wolford. Wolford, the right-hander who came on to hit and replaced Poquette in the lineup, and Billy Martin hustles to the mound. Sparky Lyle and Doyle Alexander in the Yankee bullpen if he wants one of them.
I don't think he'll take Tidrow out. Wolford, by the way, during the season hit only .208 with runners on base. He did hit .270 with the bases empty throughout the '76 season.
Yeah, but he got a single a few minutes ago.
He sure did. A big blooper, and that set up the Brett home run.
No question about it. Billy Martin out of the dugout goes out and says, you got to go after this man. If he hit 408, 208, or 108, you don't want to face George Brett because we all know what he can do.
Here's the big man, George Brett, cranking up in the on-deck circle.
What Jimmy Wolford wants to remember right now is you know he's going to get a pitch to hit.
Popped up foul on the right side, well back into the crowd. It's 1-1.
Well, looking back to that 8th inning blooper of Wolford's, remember, it's easy to second guess. But we suggested then that Rivers may have gotten a slow start on the ball. If so, keep playing the ball game. If so, what did you think, Reg?
I don't remember. 1-1. It's inside.
Pitching, eh?
Jimmy Wolford has all of left center field. Enormous hole. They don't figure, at least Mickey Rivers doesn't, and Billy Martin does not figure that he'll pull Tidrow. Gets it toward the shortstop. Third baseman Nettles cuts it off. Flips it over to second. The short way on a very close play.
That was bang, bang.
Yes, it was. I don't think Cowens liked it.
Have a look at it. Watch how close it really was.
Little indecision on Nettles' part, too. Watch this. No, not really. Straightened up, could only throw to second.
I couldn't tell.
Well, Joe Brinkman standing right there and made the call, so we'll go to the bottom of the ninth inning, tied at 6-6, and we'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. Another look at that play at second base that ended the top of the ninth inning. Boy, I tell you that. Hello, y'all in Kansas City.
Cowens looked disbelievingly at him.
All right, we'll go to the bottom of the ninth inning now, and Mark Littell is on the mound. It'll be Chambliss, Sandy Alomar, and Greg Nettles. So it'll be Alomar as the designated hitter, a left-hander.
Stage is set for a hero for somebody. At times like this, when I was playing, I was nervous. And I mean as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rockets.
Why did you use the fast tank when I was playing?
All right, it's Chris Chambliss now who steps up, and the crowd comes alive here. And I'm sure a lot of folks holding their breath out in the middle of the country. And there's a man right there very concerned with what's about to happen as the big power-hitting Yankee first baseman steps up. Now they getting some more junk off of the right field area. Al McRae helping clean it up. Chambliss is pacing back and forth, and Littell gets a couple of extra pitches to stay warm as they're throwing the debris off the field. There's the line score. We're in the bottom of the ninth inning. This game is for the American League Championship. I don't want to wear you out repeating it, but that's what it is. So consequently, the outcome has enormous meaning.
What Kansas City has done in this series has been really exceptional when you stop to consider that one of their finest players, the man who ordinarily ignites their offense, and the man who is so fleet-footed and such a threat on the bases, Amos Otis, from the very first inning of the first game has been out.
You see
unthinking fans throwing bottles, dangerous instrumentalities. You wonder again about the mentality of people who will stoop to such an act.
Do it, Howard. Do it, Howard.
Just telling it like it is.
All right, now the plate umpire, Art Krantz, coming over to talk to Billy Martin. And I'm sure that if it continues, we're going to have some admonishing words from the public address system about it. And McRae was hit in the leg by an object thrown out there. Remember, Pete Rose was involved in the things not quite.
Well, I remember Pete
at
Rose.
Dodger Stadium.
I remember Pete Rose at Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
Here's the public address announcer's warning.
Please do not litter the field. Please do not throw bottles on the field. Throwing objects will endanger both the players and the spectators, and the Yankees request good sportsmanship on the part of all. Thank you.
There's another one. Just disgraceful. A throwback to that terrible situation at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, in the waning seconds of that Staubach-led Dallas victory over the Vikings last year.
I remember one time we were playing the California Angels, and I was running off the field and got hit in the head with a beer can. I went and grabbed a guy out of the stands, and I got sued. That's right.
Oh, boy. All right. Maybe we can get things under control and get on back to the object of the moment. The American League Championship is Chris Chambliss. Walks to the plate. Chambliss, a sacrifice fly to left field for a run. Fielder's choice, a double and a single. Bird and Mingori are warm in the Kansas City bullpen.
Chambliss is so hot he's got his shirt unbuttoned. He's in heat.
Mark Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field.
That's gone.
It is gone.
Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees. A thrilling, dramatic game with overtones of that great sixth game in the World Series a year ago, and then the seventh game too. What a way for the American League season to end. A spunky, young Kansas City team. Look at them mob Chris Chambliss. What a season he has had. What a series he has had.
Well, there obviously was no opportunity for Chris Chambliss to travel around the bases. He had to almost fight for his life to get to the clubhouse.
He didn't touch home plate, but I'm sure it won't make any difference. It'll be an easy ruling on that one right there. It's a home run all the way. The stage was set for Mr. Chambliss. He set record after record. And it's a shame they don't have a Most Valuable Player award for the playoffs.
He hit that home run against a good, tough young reliever whose whole record indicated how difficult it was to hit home runs often. Chambliss went up there with one purpose in mind, to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He achieved his second home run of the playoff series, his 11th hit of the playoff series, his 8th run batted in the playoff series. A remarkable individual effort by the man from the University of California at Los Angeles.
Well, you can see the melee on the field as they literally came pouring out of the stands. There was just no chance at controlling the crowd. And so the New York Yankees, on Chris Chambliss' home run, defeat the Kansas City Royals by the same score the Cincinnati Reds won the National League Championship from the Philadelphia Phillies, 7-6. And you can see how many people have spilled out onto the field. Dick Tidrow will get the win in relief, and Mark Littell will take the loss.